My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. See thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com.
This is audible activity, which is occurring at 12:56 a.m. the Ontario Museum. This is amplification. The sound is as though it's actually coming through the walls. It's not sound from a train that's behind the museum. This is demonic. And it's also following moments. The entity's group stalking at 12:48 a.m. as a matter of video documentation. Union Pacific is monitoring with this entity. The entity is also creeping around the museum while the sound of what is a siren, like the chirping of a demon sitting around, and, for example, a police vehicle. Moments before this method of audible activity is created. It's 12:57 a.m. And the people of the state are group stalking on the grounds of the museum right now. All in directed light. This is surrounding with audible activity in the same way the entity is surrounding with what is engineered light. Ready? And it's 12:57 a.m. This entity stalking by helicopter with the Ontario Police. And the minions documented at Upland Public Library engaging in what is trespass of property while I'm documenting their criminal conduct. That's why they're going to federal prison. Listen. That's an entity that is group stalking at 12:58 in the morning, and the entity is group stalking inside of the Upland Public Library, including inside of bathroom stalls. And as I documented, which is the case, this very demented and deranged and very disturbing pattern of conduct includes the demon-possessed that are stalking inside of bathroom stalls on behalf of that government that's engaging in this level of obsessive stalking. That obsessive stalking is occurring inside of bathrooms as I document, and the entirely gross and sexually perverted conduct of making noise, stalking noise in the same way that Union Pacific is the guise of what is noise and engineered light, demons maintaining presence in the way that these demons are stalking at the museum right now at 12:58 in the morning with the state of California, who's stalking in a helicopter, in bathroom stalls, stalking with noise, audible activity, which is the conduct of a demon-possessed person who is entirely focused on you while they're in a bathroom stall adjacent to you. Okay, that's entirely demented, okay? And it's very gross. And that's what this government is doing. That's what I've documented. That's what they're doing. And that's exactly what they're engaging in. Stalking me in bathroom stalls, engaging in demonic activity in the same way that the entity uses the train as a method of stalking with activity, in the same way that these demons are sitting around right now in police vehicles stalking with the use of sirens. All right, after 12 o'clock in the morning. Okay, this is the entity that is engaging in that very sexually perverted conduct. While my panties are down, genitalia exposed, stalking with the maintenance of noise in bathroom stalls. That obsessive and demented conduct is underway by this government, who is right now flying in circles over me at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And that is why the state of California shall be, as a matter of what is establishing precedent, And another way in which you are prosecuting a government that's placing you under surveillance, that government is a sex offender, in addition to the people of the state, prosecuted as the perpetual sex offender. And this is the ongoing context. This is what I was describing. And this is what you are remaining cognizant of while demons are in bathrooms and around you in relevant position on behalf of this government. That's stalking by helicopter. And it is the ongoing evidence against, for example, Joy, Sandy, Elaine, Kristen, the employees who are group stalking at the Upland Public Library in engineered light, where the sun, under no circumstances, would remain present over that address of 450 North Euclid Avenue from morning until after 6 p.m. in the evening. Those are demons, and those are demons stalking in the bathroom with those employees while they're surrounded with noise and entirely demented fashions, engaging in invasion of privacy by an entity. And that's just an example of what is being documented at the same time while the entity is stalking by helicopter right now at 1 a.m. in the morning. This is amplified audible activity. This is the entity that is, again, subject to federal prison while it then wants to harass you while it's stalking with this government. This is P.O.C., 1 o'clock in the morning. Stalking with noises in the bathroom stall. That gross government is attributed to this entity that is stalking me right now at 1 o'clock in the morning by helicopter. That's what this government is into. That's entirely disgusting. And that's exactly what they're doing. Very much concerned, having no business concerned with what's going on in my panties or creating audible activity with simultaneity to my panties being down in the private space. Which, by the way, while the entity is stalking me right now by helicopter at the museum, this is what the entity is doing while I'm inside of the Upland Public Library. Group stalking. There you go. 24 hours a day. And this is the conduct of Satan. Only a deranged entity would engage in stalking someone with a helicopter 24 hours a day. Yes, this deranged level and obsessive level of stalking is occurring in the bathroom, as I am very specifically breaking down and publishing on the internet for the prosecution of the state of California and sex offenders such as Joy and Sandy and Elaine and Kristen, who are employees at the Upland Public Library. They're also demon-possessed, very sexually violent offenders, okay, engaging in surveillance with this government and to be prosecuted as such. And that's exactly how they're documented. And the demons sitting around in the museum, at the, they are sitting around at the museum right now, but sitting inside of the Upland Public Library, all of those demons sitting in directed light, psychopaths, in an entirely artificially engineered environment, focused on me and my presence there while they are maintaining ongoing presence on behalf of this government. This is how they are prosecuted, and they are psychopaths who are then hostile because you are publishing the very fact that what you're listening to, because they're stalkers. That's a psychopath. That is a psychopath. And let me be clear, this is the evidence which is going to literally be replayed in federal court while they are subject to what is prosecution as the perpetual sex offender, as what is engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring, and going to federal prison. Okay? It is currently 1:03 a.m. and what you're listening to is a psychopath. That is the same condition, demon possession. This is the condition of a psychopath that's engaging in that level of stalking conduct, this inexplicable level of obsession that is shared by a people and practiced amongst the government engaging in what is criminal surveillance. That's why you engage in what is stalking one person like myself with a helicopter at 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, in conformity to a long documented pattern of what is described under all circumstances as stalking. Okay, it is currently 1:03 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is a group stalker at the museum. It's the people of the state. 1:14 a.m. Shopping cart is a demon's method of stalking in the path with noise and engineered light. This is the state monitoring with these minions that are group stalking at the museum, the people of the state. All right, the white male that I documented yesterday morning and documented on many occasions before is group stalking and alignment on the opposite side of the museum. You have the demon that you hear dragging a grocery cart, and you have another demon that is engaging in what is positioning, in other words, stalking me by maintaining presence on the side of the museum, on the side that I'm at, on that side where that brick wall is, where that white male, as I documented this morning, on a communication device walking all around, he was pacing all around the museum. That's where this other third party, who I capture still image of, he's monitoring while the demon uses the shopping cart, while the other minion is stalking in perfect alignment with me on the opposite side of the museum. By the way, they're all present while the entity is stalking by helicopter. This is an entity that's surrounded by a bunch of demon-possessed third parties who are group stalking at 1:15 in the morning at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts and directed light. All right, so that third party you can see in a still image. I took a picture of that at approximately 1:14. They're standing on the side of the museum, right here in alignment where I am on the side where I'm located, on the side of the building, inconspicuously stalking, and then walk from after remaining on the side of the building at 1:15 in the morning while the entity uses noise with a shopping cart, crossing path, group stalking together. Okay, that's what I just took images of. These are the demon possessed engaged in what is criminal surveillance at 1 o'clock in the morning. While the entity is flying over by helicopter, this is group stalking by the people of the state. This is the conduct that the entity is engaging in all day long inside, for example, of the Upland Public Library. This is the engagement in that criminal system at this time while the entity is engaging in it during business hours of the library as well. This is P.O.C. This is obsessive stalking by a demon-possessed entity that engages in this obsession, again, because this is directly relevant to the sex offender that they also are, stalking in bathrooms on behalf of this government, just like they're stalking at the museum on behalf of this government, and stalking with noises. Gross sexual violence, disgusting, perverted, demented. Okay? Walking into bathroom stalls, maintaining presence in the path, pacing in and out of the bathroom, this is Satan that's in a bathroom stall adjacent to you, just making ongoing noise based on what Satan knows that you are doing in a bathroom stall, stalking you, focused on you. As focused as this helicopter is, as I'm documenting, as you heard that, as I capture on an ongoing basis by videos for you to witness, that entity, that demonic conduct occurring in a bathroom. It's gross. Okay, that is the sex offender. That is stalking me right now at 1:17 a.m. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. It's 1:17 a.m. again on Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. And this is the P.O.C. This is the people of the state engaged in ongoing concerted conduct with the government that uses helicopters to engage in group stalking with these minions, the people of the state of California. All right, I do want to document another demonic feature. This is the maintenance of noise, another method of maintenance of noise around me, which again, at all times, this is demonic activity. You're talking about what the entity is doing and in ways in which a demon-possessed entity seeks to provide what are ongoing explanations for whatever it is that you are, for example, whatever it is that you hear, or for example, an audible explanation for whatever it is that you may see. And, this is maintaining an environment around you, and demons are doing this. But demons also like to engage in what is blending in, not, in other words, standing out or highlighting the fact that you're subject to what is entirely demonic. And it's actually has nothing to do, for example, with the sun that's over any address while you're looking at what is not even sunlight. It's engineered light. It's directed light. That's just an example. And it's a very poor one because, as you see, engineered light is in no way comparable to what is sunlight. All right. It has nothing to do with actually the placement of the fake sun over me. The fake sun over me is a method of maintaining a light source, stalking with light on a massive scale. And the entity engages in what is a separate and distinct method of stalking with light, engineered light, while I've shown you what is directed light, that light that sits up on objects. As I put my foot in, it sits on my shoe. All right. It sits on my hand, on my person. As I stand in it, it glows in my shadow. All right, that's engineered light. Has nothing to do with the light source that's present during day and nighttime, and it's occurring where the entity is, again, when I'm in the shade. This is what I've shown you about engineered light. With regard to the audible environment, as you may have heard while I'm speaking here, like a knocking sound, that right there, the entity is engaging in that use of audible activity, which, by the way, the entity is doing so, listening to me, knows exactly what I'm about to expose. This is the real-time audience that I have, which is Satan itself. And the entity is engaging in what is the use of that noise while I operate my phone. Okay, and doing so on an ongoing basis. This is the entity that is creating this sound with regard to what is a method of stalking with noise. So that is another method, and it is another inexplicable method of audible activity. So in other words, you don't have a demon that's sitting next to me at a desk, which is supposed to be the explanation for why you're hearing some sort of noise around you while they, for example, are doing nothing other than placing a pencil on the table. But that's nothing. That's supposed to be the explanation for what's the loud noise that you're hearing, because you're seeing someone by you. This is the entity doing the same pattern. Okay, stalking with noise. I'm outside at the museum. The entity is using that same noise as an ongoing method of stalking with audible activity while I am molested with engineered light. Okay, the very presence of that light on the museum wall, you are witnessing what is demonic. Light is not shooting horizontally in that manner, creating the shadows of the columns that are holding up this side of the museum that I'm on, that are appearing on that wall in the middle of the courtyard area of the museum. Understand the trajectory of that light. Understand what I've also shown as I've stood in that light, the multiple shadows that I have. Those are the enlarged sizes of those columns. That is not light that's occurring from some spotlight that's on the end of the walkway. All right, it's going at a diagonal trajectory for the creation of those shadows on that museum wall. You're witnessing the demonic, okay? And the light that's actually hanging on the side of this walkway is no form for that placement of that light. This is the detail that you're paying attention to, and that is a great distance, by the way, for that light that would appear across the entirety of that wall in the middle of the the building in the middle of the museum. As I specifically always point out, while the entity's talking by helicopter, they're doing it in engineered light. It's a demon. It's demonic activity. It is also criminal monitoring. The entity is group stalking and engineered light at all times. So I want to be clear, that is witnessing demonic. That's the demonic, That's impossible light activity. That is just sitting on the building of the museum. It's just sitting there. And what you need to pay attention to is that it is actually an act of it's an impossible occurrence. There is no light hanging from anything above me. For example, these light fixtures, these yellow golden light bulbs above are not creating light that's on the museum building in the middle of the courtyard area. The spotlight that's hanging only on this side of the building where I am sleeping is not creating from this distance that rectangular shaped light that is spreading across that building of the museum in the middle of the courtyard, which would be diagonal from the side of the museum that I'm laying on. It is also creating what are the shadows of the columns. If you're looking at the position of that spotlight and the placement of the museum, the building that is in the center of the courtyard, that's a diagonal trajectory. That's not the light that's coming from that. That's speaking to what is an impossible occurrence, the inexplicable presence of that light. In other words, you're witnessing what is demonic. Satan engages in what is stalking with light. You are witnessing the presence of Satan as you, in other words, see that light. Okay? It's another iteration of the same exact conduct. Directed light while I'm on the bus. Directed light while I am standing outside of the 280 North Limit Apartments, as you saw that light, that patch of light just moving on. It's on the sidewalk, and then it's in the dirt, and then you see it up right on the wall. That's exactly what's on the walls of the museum. It's a different color. It's the same conduct. It's the presence of Satan. That's demonic activity. And with regard to the audible activity, the entity is engaging in what is an abundance of noise now, if you can hear it over my voice, just ongoing knocking, knock, 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 where there is no person, there is no woodpeckers. The entity is engaging in what is using noise, creating noise, while demons surround me, and those demons also are creating noise. The entity is also maintaining noise, stalking in the path and using such as trains. This is the maintenance of a noisy environment, if you will. Noise, the clinical term for that is audible activity. This is the ongoing formula. And so I want to document that. That's terrorism. This is what the entity is doing as I'm speaking to what the entity is doing inside of the Upland Public Library or the Ovid Family Community Library. I'm just speaking to where I was yesterday, where I was subject to the pattern of conduct. This is what the entity is doing everywhere. This is what demons do. Stalk with activity, or stalking all around you, maintaining presence while you are surrounded with what are noises and engineered light, which remains in the environment. So while I show you what's the floor that is covered with engineered light, while demons are engaging in surveillance in the study rooms around me, while demons are pacing in and out of those side rooms where the employees are walking in, and it's amplified noise inside, while the entity is creating what sounds like horns, sounds the impossible sound of what are children running. That's supposed to be heard from upstairs while I'm on the study room on the first floor. The entity even engaging in what is the amplification of what is like walking and running and conversations. I've documented that before. The entity amplifying the sound of, as you heard, as though that minion is inside of the study room with me. That was amplification, demonic activity, as you heard her voice while she's on the phone in a study room. Next to me, as though she's sitting in the study room right there with me. She's monitoring using her voice. That's what I was documenting. While I'm out, those are ongoing methods. While the demon possessed surround in relevant position, I am outside. The demon possessed, obviously, as I just documented, using shopping carts, creeping on the side of the museum, standing, engaging in surveillance on the side of me, walking out after remaining on that position, crossing path, doing so while I'm recording on my podcast. They're monitoring, and they're also engaging in what is obsessive stalking, terrorizing conduct, stalking in that manner at 1 o'clock in the morning, in the same way the entity is doing so with a helicopter. But like I'm stating, the entity is creating this ongoing noise, knocking, this inexplicable sound that's occurring, and it's occurring while I'm outside. And that is the same pattern of stalking with noise. Okay, and the minion that you see again, as an aside, that's engaging in what is present on behalf of the entity, joined by demons who are coming onto the property and monitoring, group stalking with him. This is the same Caucasian male captured this morning. He was group stalking with the entity, stalking by helicopter last night, and captured on many days prior to that. This is the demon that is engaging in what is manifesting light, as he's documented, engaging in what is impunity while documented. So this is the very grounds of federal prison. His criminal conduct is attributed to the not only the state of California, but the people of the state of California, and the entity is going to be prosecuted uniformly for that. And like I said, the entity is they're engaging in criminal activity together, and the entity is not getting away with anything, and that is directly relevant to how long you go to federal prison, that ongoing threat that the entity with impunity poses to the life of an American citizen while just monitoring with the government that's engaging in these methods of terrorism. All right. As you hear what is ongoing noises, these are noises that the entity is surrounding with on an ongoing basis while I'm outside, as though there's woodpeckers on the over here on the grounds of the museum. I'm showing you what I took another picture of it, but I have tons of pictures. The entity is just creating noise. It has nothing to do with the actual structure of the museum. This is the act of Satan, surrounding me with noise and surrounding me with what is engineered light and surrounding me with Satan's own minions, the people, faces that I'm capturing, in addition to Satan's minion that's stalking by helicopters, okay? It's currently 1:30 a.m., 1:31 a.m. now. It's Wednesday, May 18, 2022. This is documentation of what is ongoing terrorism while the people of the state are engaged also in surveillance while they maintain presence via traffic. Third parties that are in relevant position at the Emporia Lofts. That's a third-party facilitating venue in relevant position where the demon-possessed, engaging in criminal surveillance, are monitoring where they live, okay? That is a documentation of an entity that's engaging in that terrorism. The people of the state are always present in relevant position. These are all the ways in which you are documenting that entity that is being documented as one in concert with the state. Engaging in terrorism while the entity is surrounding me with noise at the museum, as though there's as though there are woodpeckers, for example, creating ongoing knocking noises, as a method of stalking me with noise and engineered light, as a method of what is ongoing harassment by an entity. All right, the people of the state are prosecuted for that conduct. All right, so, and understand what's the bigger picture. This is criminal monitoring. Yes, this criminal monitoring system is satanic at its core. And what does that translate into with regard to what is objective evidence used to prosecute a government placing under surveillance? That's what this is. This is literally Satan that's present through an environment, and the presence of Satan's minions in that environment is there being documented for this criminal conduct. The demonic environment that you are surrounded with, in other words, stalking with methods of inexplicable noise, because you're placing me under surveillance, the people of the state that are in that demonic environment, placing you under surveillance with that government, are thereby documented while they're engaging in what's demonic. They're monitoring you while you're surrounded by that demonic activity, and that is directly relevant to the criminal system that they're engaging in. So while I am pointing out the necessary details of what are ongoing methods of demonic, and criminal conduct, which is achieving monitoring, this ongoing knocking sound, it's the maintenance of noise and engineered light. It's also terrorism. It's a demonic environment. It is the act of Satan. Satan is prosecuted while the people of the state are being documented. They're engaged in this criminal conduct. While I'm surrounded with this light, while I'm surrounded with this noise, I am surrounded by the demon possessed. They are identified as the entity acting directly and vicariously. All right, the people of the state and the state of California. All right, and that's how you're prosecuting what is also demonic activity. Anyway, it's currently 1:33 a.m. and this is P.O.C. It is 1:34 a.m. You have what is very rapid In the same way the entity, yeah, that right there. In the same way the entity is appearing, causing direct light to appear and disappear inside of the Upland Public Library, the entity is engaging what is a rapid disappearance of sound of a train. There's no train on the tracks, by the way. No train on the tracks. The entity is creating the sound of a train while it knows immediately that I'm opening up my podcast. Okay, I'm about to record what's the use of a train. And the moment that I'm opening it up, that sound of the train, that supposedly the train's coming, the choo-choo train's coming, and it's getting louder and louder. The moment I start opening my podcast, that sound immediately disappears. And so now while you're listening to me record the fact of what the entity is doing, like I said, it has nothing to do with the environment. Satan is surrounding with noise. The method is a train, all right, that's occurring where there's no train on the tracks, which is the case right now. And not only that, the entity is creating that sound while it knows that I'm about to document the fact that this coward that knows that I'm documenting that method of stalking with noise and immediately cause that sound to supposedly, not supposedly, it literally decreases in volume. It vacillated very, very quickly where no train even had the opportunity to cross path as supposedly the choo-choo train was on its way. It was getting louder. It was as though it's coming from a distance. The moment I open back up my podcast, it immediately disappears. There's no train that you're hearing on the train tracks anymore. And now what you're hearing is the ongoing sound of a horn as though the train is honking the horn. This is noise monitoring me, but I want to be clear, the entity engaging what is vacillating drastically, immediately, with real-time knowledge of what I'm doing on my phone, the fact that I'm about to record it. That horn that you're hearing, there's no train on the tracks at all. And what the entity was doing was, though, creating noise in addition to the sound of a horn, creating noise as though you can hear the train that's on the tracks, that's coming from a distance, and it's getting louder and louder. This is the ongoing soundtrack that I'm surrounded by. Now, while this entity is monitoring what I'm doing on my phone, in other words, aware of the fact that I'm opening my podcast back up and I'm about to record it, that sound of as though the train is approaching and it's getting louder and louder, okay, which is nothing other than an illusion. The entity is stalking with noise, okay, and engineer light. That sound of what's supposedly a train that's approaching immediately vacillates, decreases in volume, and goes away, right? And then continues sounding a horn of a train while I continue to document the fact that that's exactly what the entity was doing. And I want to be clear that sound of a train is occurring while there is no train approaching or leaving. It's a method of stalking with activity, that knee-jerk creation of audible activity. There is no train coming. There is no train that's already on the track. That sound of that train is very close, as though there's a train sitting idle on the train tracks. But that's not the case because the entity was sounding activity as though a train was coming toward the train, toward this station. All right. This is nothing other than breaking down what's demonic. Satan is not intelligent with its stalking methods, as I've shown you with the fake sun. It's not intelligent. It's not sophisticated. All right. That's very much common sense, being at the same address at 8:22 in the morning and you're at the same address at 5:35 in the afternoon. How is that? Okay, you're speaking to what is not intelligent at all. The same with the demonic methods of stalking me with noise. All right, and that sound of that train horn sounding is nothing other than what is confirmation of the what it is that I've already documented before, but exactly what the entity is doing, just creating the sound of the train. There's no train on the tracks. But I just want to point that out. It's 1:38 a.m. and this is occurring while this Caucasian male, the heavily documented third party representing the people of the state, are group stalking while an ongoing soundtrack remains. Like a woodpecker is above me, sounding ongoing knocking noises, surrounding me with noise, using the method of what is reminiscent of the sound of a train. Group stalking, obviously, as you heard, the entity stalking by helicopter, and the entity is engaging in what is the maintenance, in other words, of what is ongoing noise and engineered light. This is monitoring, and it's also demonic activity. This is the evidence of what is terrorism that the targeted individual is subject to while you are stalking as an entity, a bunch of demons stalking you together, the living dead stalking you together, monitoring you with communication devices, placing you under surveillance, and in order to do so, keeping you in an entirely demented environment, which is harassment by an entity and terrorism by that entity that's engaging in federal stalking. It's currently 1:38 a.m. This is P.O.C. That is prosecution, by the way, of what is Union Pacific. They are frequently engaging, using trains, pacing back and forth of that train track. The entity is using the guise of a sound of a train on the Amtrak train tracks, by the way. And Union Pacific is going to be prosecuted while the government is creating the demonic environment using the sound of a train. Now you're hearing what's approaching, but this is what the entity was doing moments ago, 4 minutes and 55 seconds ago, as I documented specifically. And that immediately decreases, and then you're hearing what's a train horn. This is P.O.C. This is demonic activity. I'm breaking that down for you. This is prosecution for what is terrorism. This is what the entity is doing at all times. All I'm doing is giving you details as to, and it's relevant because the entity is going to be prosecuted for terrorism, and it's also relevant for you to understand what Satan is doing in an environment. All right, Satan is engaging in what is presence through the environment, not only the environment that you see, but the environment that you hear, and it's occurring in what is engineered light. This is the system of group stalking and its demonic activity. And it is subject to what is a very real life prosecution in the federal court. And the people of the state who are documented, the people of the state who are in every corner of whatever state where you're subject to the surveillance, this is direct evidence against every single last one of them to be prosecuted as terrorists. It's currently 1:40 a.m. This is P.O.C. It is 7:19 a.m. Union Pacific is an ongoing method of audible activity. All right, and the entity engaging in what is vacillating in the volume and the use of that to engage in what is monitoring. And the 150 East Holt, San Bernardino County Public Health Clinics, as I am consistently showing you, the entity is group stalking by virtue of their presence inside of that venue, engaging in ongoing surveillance, group stalking on the grounds with the minions that are maintaining presence around me on the museum, that are group stalking via aircraft, that are maintaining presence, group stalking in traffic. And 150 East Holt, that's San Bernardino County, is monitoring with Union Pacific while the entity is engaging in this ongoing method of audible activity. So I want to point that out. While the entity is engaging in the P.O.C, it is 7:20 a.m. And this is the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And again, San Bernardino County is, again, that's 150 East Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California, where the entity, as a matter of documentation, is also keeping a fake sun, because that's not the natural environment where San Bernardino County is engaging in that same criminal system, while I am being surrounded in relevant position to the San Bernardino County venue with that specific environment where the entity is a matter of evidence, objective documentation, literally you seeing what is that which is the sun over this building, it's over me while I'm at this building, is in the 7 o'clock hour in the morning, and as late as what is in the evening where I'm there, 3:55 in the afternoon. You're talking about what is 4 and 5 o'clock. Remember, the museum is right next door to that venue as well. So that is the pattern of conduct. And I'm showing you the fake sun that's all around that venue as well at multiple times of the day, coming from every vantage point. I've documented this is nothing other than a venue, and I want to document San Bernardino County. This is understanding what is the minions that are monitoring altogether. And so while Union Pacific is stalking with ongoing amplified audible activity, engaging in just an ongoing incessant sound of train activity, it is the prosecution for the entity that's surrounding. Right, and San Bernardino County is not the only venue engaging in that pattern of conduct. It's 7:21 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, it's 7:23, so this is like less than 60 seconds later. And this is the entity that is engaging in, again, that hyperbolic use of what is not only the frequency, but you're talking about the amplified audible activity level. And this is seconds later, and this is supposedly, again, another train that's repeatedly crossing path at the museum. And so this is what I mean. This is the evidence of what the entity is doing. They're monitoring together. All right. And San Bernardino County is, again, that's the San Bernardino County Public Health Clinics located at 150 East Holt Boulevard. And as you heard in the background, this is supposedly a train that's crossing path. It's getting lower in volume, supposedly. This is the illusion that the entity engages in, as though this is the audible activity of what is actual train traffic, if you will. The entity is just incessantly sounding train activity. That's what the entity is doing. And not only that, the use of such a train at this frequency is serving the criminal system, period. I want to point that out. But I also want to point out the entity is doing nothing other than maintaining the ongoing activity, as though a train is just incessantly going over that train tracks. It was literally less than 60 seconds ago, and then you have another train. You also know this because the entity is stalking by helicopter at this venue. All right, this is nothing other than the criminal pattern of conduct, which San Bernardino County is directly engaged in. It's 7:24 a.m. It is enabling the venue of San Bernardino County at 150 East Holt. All the companies engaging in what is presence, as I documented clearly, walking past that venue, you see the entity that is monitoring those that are engaging in what is relevant position. This is criminal surveillance, and doing so through the use of what is amplified audible activity is the pattern of conduct. And it's 7:25 a.m. and this is that example of what I was just speaking to. It's less than 60 seconds later, and supposedly you have what is another train. That is the hyperbolic use of train activity for purposes of criminal monitoring. It's 7:25 a.m. P.O.C. 7FYM523, 6H68086, 1592078, which is City of Ontario. 7HMC392. CENTAS is group stalking, and Costco is group stalking as well. They're crossing path, maintaining presence in relevant position in commercial vehicles. 8BLX971, 6PSN243. 7VEX574, Mission Linen, and Omnitrends. Well, it's specifically Route 83, but it's Omnitrends at 8:03 a.m. 74833F1, that is headed southbound on Euclid Avenue. Let's see, 64483N2, 8LKE953. SoCal Gas is crossing path as well. It's 8:03 a.m. Eight SUL 378, 8 WCV 385, 7 UDC 085, 8 SGK 372, Coca-Cola crossing path, 7 ZXM 006. 7VPW 201, 7HDA 790, AW2 7328, 8UQH 491, 8ZYM 607, 6DU, I can't really see that one, 8JOL 532, 6P21083, 7NMD 059, 8HOY 747, 6KPN 041, 4CBZ 085. 7YWJ332. That's a Latino male with minor child group stalking. Eight ZNT 429, 7LNC165, 7YCT994, 8TDR 831. 6WDV 593, 8THE 480, 8WOK 526, 8N 78113, 6VUR 838, and Coca-Cola is 9G45759, NTK 3865 is Texas, 8XTU 927, 70837C3, 8 WBR 144, 8 SSA 536, 8 YFC 870, 6J 48230, 8 GKU 332, 7 UGZ 731, 7 GKC 474, 8 WDS 726. Amazon Prime crossing path as well. 8 RBG 876. And you have what is criminal surveillance at 3-Star Janitorial. That's a group stalker maintaining presence on that street. This is criminal surveillance that they're engaging in. 8 GTM 683. License. And on the side of 3-Star Janitorial, they're parked specifically on what is Lemon at the intersection where Holt and Lemon intersect those two streets, which is in relevant position, by the way. It's crossing path of surveillance and maintenance of presence. And it's 8:06 a.m. Eight XO1 771. Excuse me, 8XON 771. 5 VEV 228. They've been engaged in surveillance. Doing the same thing the other minion is doing at 3-Star Janitorial. License 8XYA 243, 8SVU 796, 7EIH 484, 8NQN 310, 6RHU 392, 8LZZ 854, CC25 U03 paper. This is Route 87 that's here right now at 8:08 a.m. Bus 1264, they're monitoring. And it's license 1399979. And overweight African American male operating that bus. License 15645C3. 8THE 922. 8VRM 931. AVMG 136. 8YPU 529. 38290 handicap. 7KBT 140. 6UYR 853. And it is 8:08 a.m. All right, anomaly trans route 87 is loitering in relevant position, creating light activity. License 8VLZ 932, 8DYM 524. (19967K3) 8R. I can't really see that one. 38036H2 8XWS 904 80440A1 8DGX 4. I can't skip. You can scratch that one. LESGOCG 5YSF 911. Excuse me, 919. (8JLM 306).
Route 87, Chafee College. Please have your fare ready. Be back. Pay your fare.
7VPB 575. Stalking with light is 6XYP223. And they're on Omnitrans cameras as well. 8VJH 784. You have a third party that gets on the bus. That's their form for stalking with light. This African American male, Route 87 operator. He's monitoring. It is 8:11 a.m. He's got a bald head and he wears glasses and he has facial hair, a mustache. And that is the bus again, loitering in relevant position. It's it's 8:11 a.m. That's Route 87. (8MNN 772, 5RRB 927, GUTZ 11. This is P.O.C. Mestiza Cafe is monitoring. That's amplified audible activity. That's facilitation, what you hear. Again, San Bernardino County is monitoring. The venues where I'm at the bus stop, so this is real money transfer where the T-Mobile and all those venues are. R294HL, 8XSS 296, 7WDZ 366, 8MOV 832, 7YUR 966, 8UXA 911, 7ZCL 623, 7HCE 674, 7YWK 502, 4EVK 549, 3B58. I can't see that one. You can scratch that one. BLSTRK 7T00772, 7ZVL 884, 2930866, and 08517. I can't see the rest of them. That's a back license plate on the same vehicle. That's a large truck. It's 8:13 a.m. KESM 503. 7CJD 409. It's 8:14 a.m. 7NEJ 116 22826H2 2272 1K1 8TWG 415 W221XO 7EDM 077 8XSW 807 8ZNB 806 8XSU 969 RNG Transport carrying Amazon Prime, PA 85287 is the back license plate on the Amazon trailer, 24440Z1, 7GFS 962, 8BET 099, 6XGB 829, 8REY 986. It's 8:15 a.m. 8YVH 363. 8DVX129, 7BLY134, 8AKD224, 8SCA044, 8UUS504, 8NUM543, 1VEL248, 64129J3, I believe, 5SGY185, CC88T95 paper, AL20100, Murphy's Logistics, I believe. 29915TZ is a back plate on that truck. 7BGV652, 8WAM 846, 07956P1, 8TED 140, 26773V2. It's 8:18 a.m. Rider crossing path. No, this company is called Halsa, or K Halsa. Large K spelled K and then HALSA. That might be one word, or abbreviated K Halsa. 8MYZ640 or 8MXZ640. That's a Kia, one of those box vehicles. It's 8:19 a.m. 6ZMN 873. Student Transportation of America crossing path. Visser buses crossing path. License 19891Y2. (22679H3). EG Meat Incorporated. It's 8:19 a.m. BL4Y96 paper on a white Toyota Camry. 6DUU919, 8RNU810, 7YHR871, 01988G3, 8ZRS454, 8SKS002, 7XRF491, 5HUP581, 8XCV235, 7CEV364, 8KAV187, 7PWV724, 7PSP585, 6NGV436, 7KXV794, 8BGP760, 5YHA680, 85981S2. License 8ACG025. who you hear in operation of a communication device is the old African-American male, documented as a perpetual sex offender on more than one occasion, molesting with directed light while engaging in surveillance at the bus stop. He's monitoring right now. Suppose you drive crossing path. Student transportation crossing path again. License 8XAU100. It's 8:21 a.m. Sparklets is crossing path. Commercial vehicle 7TLD884. Sparklets license plate is in California 352. I can't really see that one, but the license is 87459, and I can't really see the rest of it. 8E47881, 5FFR426, MECHNBL 6STL965, 5X14749, 8E63605, 8NTK725, 05689C2, 7HIP730, 7BFJ845, 8NO5707, 8RKK513, 8LRH3. I can't really see the rest on the chat room. Scratch that one. 779-162, 35815G2, 471ZMX, 49298W1, Chafee Joint Union High School crossing path, 8YVU995. It's 8:23 a.m. It's 8:24 a.m. 8PUJ657. Aramark Corporation crossing path, Omnitrans crossing path, Route 61 going eastbound at 8:24 a.m. John Christner Trucking, they're monitoring American citizens in California. They are crossing path. License 7VPJ819, 7RWC336, 6BBM628, 7WGX132, 4CGL144, 26199K2, BU4Z2Z3, 01066G3. VBP649, 7YTS277, E570SO. Clean Street crossing path. Old Dominion Freight Line crossing path. It's 8:26 a.m. 7CNM 538, 8RNT 106. XJG 937. 7LYY270, 6JZF452, 8VFH925, 8983282. Penida Bros Incorporated 74207J3. 6HDD471 5RGY720 8SQG558 43995C3 8UNL637 8KEK943. Dolly Wall, that's a trucking company, back license 4SH4319. 92131V2's crossing path 9AFT. 9AFT. I can't really see the rest of one. You just cross on. Chaffee Joint Union High School crossing path again, and Student Transportation of America. It's 8:28 a.m. United States Postal Service crossing path. Stater Brothers Markets in a commercial vehicle crossing path 8VUF299. R1. 7XLG751. City of Ontario. SMR 236. BU 69600 6XJS190 8YMG800 7RGE 799 6VNM 188 8HGA 877 8DSS 314 5LFZ 137 8JAK 345 7KTG 161 BMOB X14 paper 6ZXR 496 7HCP. I can't really see that one. 8946ON2 7SMM 488 8CLL520 RIQUENA 75831R2. Alrighty, you have the people of the state monitoring with minor children, light activity by City of Ontario, surrounding on the opposite side by an underage minion who's engaging in what is terrorism, demonic activity, and criminal monitoring in violation of federal law with the state and the people of the state, and this minion, the African-American male, is creating noise. Alright, this is P.O.C, including a minor child. So it's 8:32 a.m. Omnitrans is monitoring as well. The City of Ontario, the municipality, is engaging in the direct elements with a minor, by the way. Just want to point that out. This is the people of the state acting together, but I'm pointing out they're surrounding together and including in that criminal system right now is this underage minion with the long socks on, this little kid engaging in terrorism. All right. It's 8:32 a.m. And with this minion, whose images have been captured, as a sex offender engaging in the P.O.C. in that regard as well. Route 83 is approaching. We're at Euclid and Holt. License plate 7VZE053, 77258K1, 7E67202, 63511K3, 7DJB814, 7YDK272. All of them monitoring with this minor child as well. It's the entirety of an entity, but I'm speaking to who's crossing path right now, acting on behalf of that entity. 8PFF197. Good morning. Amtrak crossing path. 1693-800, 208-73H3, 788-17J3, 6MLN 657, excuse me, 6MLN 457. RLP 238. That's an underage minor, by the way. It's the same one documented April 8th, 2022 at 7:50 a.m. in Upland, California, where the entity had a fake son over me. Is that fake son? This is the one who's monitoring with the minions who I'm identifying, including Amtrak. The male that I documented as or identified him as African American. Perhaps he's not African American. He's got dark colored skin, though. 6TGG171, perhaps a Middle Eastern, Indian, or something like that. Nonetheless, you can clearly see his image. He's monitoring the entity engages in the pattern of conduct with those under the age of majority. You're talking about communication devices. This is how California is doing it through the people. And the people are not necessarily over 18. And that's relevant to the way in which you're prosecuting this criminal system as well.
Stop requested.
Ontario Police engaging in the same with the minor's vehicle 8. I can't even see that vehicle number. It is 8:37 a.m. where they are crossing path going southbound on Euclid Avenue, though. Monitoring at Unicare Community Center at the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue. 7RSA210 is monitoring with the Ontario Police. And David, employee number 2366, is monitoring with the Ontario Police. And the Ontario Police are engaged in criminal monitoring, group stalking, demonic activity, all the above, with those under the age of majority. License plate 8WPN 305. U20458. Seven LOP 845. All those underage minions getting off at Chafee High School under the age of majority, monitoring with Omnitrans with the Ontario Police, 8FAF 747, getting off right now at 8:39 a.m. Documenting that presence while they're engaging in that criminal conduct. And as I've documented before, the people of the state, they're of the same exact condition, right? So this isn't about it is about their condition, which is uniform. They're in the same exact directed light. The entity is amplifying audible activity. The entity is stalking with audible activity. 8NXC285, all the same. While these minions remain present, and these minions are engaged in their operation, their communication device, they're acting in concert with either their parents or the minions that they're around at any sort of venue. The pattern of conduct does not take a pause at Chafee Joint Union High School, for example. The entity is engaging in, as I've documented, including children, while minions are with their kid. In every way, the people of the state and the government, the state, is monitoring with communication devices, and you're understanding how, again, not only the demonic system is speaking to what is the population, and you're witnessing, as I'm showing you, directed light source, the
Obviously, you're talking about what is everybody, all right? And everybody includes those under the age of majority as well. And that is also shown through the very criminal system. Communication devices, everybody has one. Teenagers as well, okay? Especially. And these little demons know exactly what they're doing, all right? The same exact demonic behavior. That is relevant to the way you're prosecuting criminal conduct in the way that you would, well, not in the way that you would, but analogous to any way that you would with every other sort of crime where you have criminals acting with minors, including minors, corrupting minors, contributing to the delinquency of minors. And this is elevated, or obviously because it's the state and it's criminal monitoring. All right, 73349F3. 8CPV519. 288-73U2. This is Caltrans, surrounding with light activity. Security pavings, crossing path as well. 6 U.S.S. 568. Caltrans is a state actor. And they're engaging in what is the demonic pattern of stalking with light activity. NEM 526. It's 8:42 a.m. $16,938.00. We're at 8th Street and Euclid Avenue. JKE078. 8RNE001. 8AAA373. 7LAG168. 8NHE997. 8:44 a.m. Alrighty, getting off at 8:44. This is bus 1330, license 1404974. Getting off at the 7-Eleven at 204 North Euclid Avenue in Upland, California, at the intersection of 9th Street and Euclid. And license, well, I can't see what license plate. License, that's Metrolink, that's audible activity. That's the environment. Keeping me surrounded with an environment. 56864K3. Alrighty, it is, and Metrolink is going what is eastbound at the Upland station. That's where it's located, and that's amplified audible activity. You're replacing Metrolink with the name of Union Pacific, providing the same criminal service, if you will. 8KUB457. It is 8:45 a.m. 6FKX352. 8RVB993. I did complete my purchase inside a 7-Eleven right now at 8:52 a.m. I'm walking out of the venue. License 6YUV892. 8XET911. 6SYR786. 8FHG547. 8DHV240, 6UTL709. Engaging in surveillance around the perimeter. It's meeting through monitoring. This is the parking lot beside this fake church, First United Methodist, a bunch of demons, and they're criminals. License 8M
OD 716, I believe. 5. I can't really see that one. Anyway, it's 8:53 a.m. This is the same venue. They're engaging in criminal summoning. All right, I'm reading license plates as I am in the area walking around, subject to those minions that surround. But like I said, it's more than what I am even naming on my podcast is being documented. All right, so you're going to have what are people affiliated with churches catching very serious federal crimes. Oh boy, it's 8:53 a.m. 6LMS 708. 6YVD 014, 8VEM 293, 6XSZ 284. That's, by the way, not a very good testimony at all. 7VUN 865, monitoring with minor children. License 8JIE 745. Monitoring with the minions that are in the parking lot on the opposite side of this fake church. License 8WRM 649. 8:54 a.m. 808 TT, handicap, 25831W2, 75248P1, 7EQR573, 8URZ132, 6ZRY338, 4TF, I can't really see that one. But I believe that was Coca-Cola again. Coca-Cola carrying like a different brand on the trailer of that truck. 55702A3. 8JRK428. It's 8:55 a.m. 43152H2. That's the demons of the YMCA. Crossing path. It's 8:56 a.m. All right, showing you what is the fake sun that's directly over me. And again, this is a reference to that unnatural environment. This is the demonic that I'm exposing while I'm also prosecuting the criminal system that's occurring in this demonic environment. And this is stalking with light. And as I sit at the monument, the Veterans Monument on the grounds of the Upland Public Library between the Upland City Hall, you're also looking at what are demons that are crossing path while the entity is literally shining its face on what's supposedly, again, a cloudy day. It's nothing other than what is concealing an environment as I'm revealing to you what's that very much abnormal and unnatural environment. The entity is engaging what is placing a fake sun over me. If you remember, I'm remaining at the Wells Fargo at 204 North Euclid Avenue, and that fake sun, I'm still capturing video of the minion that followed me into the parking garage, engaging in criminal summoning, the people of the state engaging in ongoing sex offenses. I captured many up-close images of the people of the state, demons who are patrolling all around me in the parking lot as I documented for a prolonged period at that Wells Fargo in Ontario. Okay. And then I went to the Ovid Family Community Library, and at 9:46 a.m. where I remained there, it was the same position as I showed you at 4:05 p.m. where the entity kept the fake sun. There is no time ever where the natural environment would result in that maintenance of the sun at that same property. And it is also speaking to what is, again, the impossibility that the sun's going to be over my head at the Veterans Monument in Upland, California, outside of the Upland Public Library, where demons are engaging in criminal summoning. All right, Upland City Hall is engaging in what is criminal summoning. Every single last minion affiliated with that venue, those are government actors as well, engaging as you hear it. This is criminal summoning, and this is the prosecution of that. This is serving for the prosecution of that. I'm speaking to my location, the presence of the environment, the simultaneity with which, as I expose the ongoing criminal system, then they engage in what is that pattern of criminal summoning, like I said, sounding sirens and engineered light. San Bernardino County Fire Department, Molly Super, Upland Unified School District, Sammy's Market on Arrow Highway, the people of the state in relevant position living on Euclid Avenue, for example, the entities maintenance of the light source, as I'm speaking to it, the entity immediately begins sounding sirens. That's the pattern of conduct. And doing so in what is, again, that unnatural environment, because the sun, first of all, is not over me at the Veterans Monument, right over my head. And also, while I documented my presence remaining at Wells Fargo, as I captured that substantial video, that video was several minutes long, and that light source is nowhere over any Upland Public Library. and it's not present at the same time, and it's certainly not possible when the entity is keeping the fake sun at that same location as I documented at that same C Street as I exit the Ovid Family Community Library, and I capture video at 4:05 p.m. All right, this is speaking to the maintenance of the fake sun that's remaining on the same block of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, 5:35 p.m. As I remain inside of this Upland Public Library, you're also witnessing what's that unnatural environment while the entity is engaged in criminal summoning, which is the criminal act of federal group stalking and monitoring, speaking to the demons that fill the Upland City Hall, a venue that I have specifically identified, meaning I went in and documented the government actors, the Upland Police Department, the San Bernardino County Fire Department, the entity engaging in what is the pattern of conduct as I went inside of Upland City Hall where they were monitoring me, as I documented in August 2019. And this same exact pattern of conduct is underway. This is published already on my website, thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com. And I named those government actors who were present, engaging in relevant positioning, engaging in what is an impermissible threat, group stalking with the Upland Police Department, and engaging in what is criminal summoning while I was subject to that P.O.C. sitting inside of the Upland City Hall, where, again, the fake sun is remaining over me, and not possibly what would be the sun with regard to the maintenance of this light source that's, as a matter of documentation, as I showed you yesterday, remaining over the Upland Public Library because supposedly, somehow, sunlight is still aiming through the roof after 5 p.m. yesterday. All right, so you're understanding what's that duration. That's speaking to what is stalking with engineered light. And this is already a matter of documentation even before 9:47 a.m. The entity's documented light source at 8:50 in the morning, and that's just when I capture video. When I'm on the bus, Route 83, going past this venue, going to Upland and getting on Route 66, for example, or going to Chino, the entity is moving this fake sun as I get on the bus at 7:50 in the morning, moving it right over this property, moving it right over, keeping it over me, whatever time that I get here, which is mutually exclusive to what it's doing in Ontario. So that's just the ongoing example. And when the entity is engaging in what is covering up its fake sun, the day after I remain at Wells Fargo and the entity keeps its fake sun there, you're not forgetting what is the environment that's not changing because you're covering it up in the morning, and then keeping the fake sun and engineer light wherever address that I'm at, which is impossible to be the natural environment inside of the Upland Public Library where I remain in Ontario on the day before yesterday when I remained at Wells Fargo and I went to the Ovid Family Community Library. That's where the entity kept the fake sun, which you also see as a matter of documentation with regard to my maintenance of presence in Ontario. That's just the latest example. I've fully documented Ontario. And the entity, when I was not getting on buses and going anywhere else, the entity kept the fake sun morning until evening, the very last minute of the day, stalking with the fake sun. All right, so there is no time where the light source, you're talking about the natural environment, this is stalking with light. And the entity engages in criminal summoning. You hear sirens as I point that out. The entity is engaging in what is obsessive stalking, monitoring me. And like I said, while I'm at the Upland Public Library, the Upland City Hall, 7-Eleven at 204 North Euclid Avenue is engaged in criminal summoning. It's massive facilitation. In the same way they were engaged in criminal summoning while I was inside of that 7-Eleven, where, by the way, the entity placed a fake sun at 8:45 in the morning. Covering up your fake sun the next day or the day after that does not change that documented conduct. It is an unnatural environment, and steps away in the direction north on the same street, the Upland Public Library. The sun is not going to remain over the roof and aiming any light as though the sun is over the roof to maintain light activity after 5 p.m. All right, that's that unnatural duration, stalking with a light source. What you hear in the background is called criminal summoning. And it's currently 9:54 a.m. Alrighty, these are minions engaging in what is criminal summoning, group stalking around at the Upland Public Library. These are demons. This is criminal conduct that they're engaging in, and doing so in the custody of children, which is the pattern of conduct, as I've shown you, the ways in which this demon-possessed population engages in what is very serious federal crimes on behalf of the government that's stalking by helicopter. This is the face of that government. These are the minions engaging in that criminal system with the state of California that's obsessively stalking by helicopter, that you hear sounding sirens around me, a group stalking at today the Upland Public Library, which is where I remain, which is where this unnatural environment remains around me. And these are the unnatural, that's revealing the unnatural condition of minions, the demon possessed. And it is currently, again, like I stated, 9:55 a.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, obviously this goes without saying, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway, because I am revealing a very specific pattern of conduct. And so, as I've already shown, what is clearly not the sun, 9:40, I took this picture at 9:47. This is a reference to where I'm at. This is around the same time, 9:45 in the morning. I'm, again, in the parking lot of the Montclair Transit Center. That's not going to be the sun. That's an impossible occurrence. It's directly over my head at the Veterans Monument. I am in the parking lot at the Chino Branch Library in Chino, California, where I have taken the entire route. The entity kept the fake sun street for street, turn for turn over my head, including turning onto Eucalyptus Avenue from Euclid Avenue. I mean, this is the entity stalking with a light source. That is documented in conduct at Chino Branch Library at 9:45 in the morning. And again, also what I documented lately, which was just the day before yesterday. So the entity engages in this conduct. It'll skip a day with its morning stalking with its fake sun. And then, like I showed you inside of the venue yesterday, in the afternoon, or whenever it is that I got up to the bathroom, then starts appearing the directed light. The fake sun is then all of a sudden it's not a cloudy day anymore. This is real-time control. This is a demonic environment. It has nothing to do with the natural environment. And you know that because covering up your fake sun in the morning is already, a cloudy day is not removing the fact that that's where the sun is. And that's based on where you're putting your fake sun. So that's not changing what is the impossible duration of time. License 4GNW 730. The duration of time of what is the documented presence of what is supposed to be sunlight, and that's not even sunlight. When you have the staircase appearing in what is the shape of the window on the floor, demons surround. All right, this is impossible light activity, and this is what the entity is keeping over me. So I just wanted to point that out. I captured on video at 9:46 a.m. And you remember in the day before yesterday, that's 48 hours ago. I captured video at 10:19 a.m. at 10:35 a.m. And you're remembering I'm reminding you, even in those videos, what the entity is placing behind over this window that's facing the Carnegie Library, where I am in the parking lot right now. Okay, this is the day that this minion 7CJP013 is engaged in criminal summoning, just like she is now. Okay, at 9:47 a.m., she's engaged in criminal summoning. All right, she was engaged in criminal summoning 48 hours ago as well, monitoring with American Medical Response. There's multiple grounds of what is federal prison. 7CRV175 08853X1. 6WPM 981, 8YIX 475, 8RPZ 864, 5WSB 861. 8NUA 773, 8SSS 454, 6URA 984, 6VAH 356, 8NMD 194, BA14B90 paper, 5HZR 876, 6STP 819, 9AWP 626, I believe. 9AWP 636, excuse me. 8ATK 678, 8JNK 971, 25831W2, 7VCT 910, 227UD handicap, 7ZTF 088, 8MLK 939, 8XRZ 908, 1178471, City of Upland, engaged in criminal summoning, 88732Y1, 24352J3, BD88X23 paper, 4GNW 730, 8MLK 939, 8WHA 862, 5WBV 915, 1208534. It's California exempt. License. This demon crossing path with directed light 7SSM 736. That's an act of terrorism. License 7JEG 518, 5KZS 957, MUSKRT 8ULT 017, 7YDF 006, BG91B94, that's paper, 8UZC 743, 8UCN 020, 6NGJ 612, 7VBC 771, 7GO9225, engaged in criminal summoning. All right, and again, this is the light source as I remain in Ontario, and I clearly show you that fake sun hovering over me in that ongoing episode of what is impossible light across 280 North Lemon Apartments, while demons such as 8CCK864 drive by and directed light, the ongoing impossible occurrence. These are demons who are stalking in that specific environment, and that fake sun is hovering right there above, while I'm showing you what is impossible light activity that's occurring in the shade, because this entity is stalking with light. That's exactly what's going on right now in Upland, California. And now while you hear sirens, that is a criminal act of what is referred to as criminal summoning, the entity that's acting directly using emergency vehicles to create what is amplified audible activity and engineered light. In other words, it's noise. All right, it's that which is occurring in public. So you have what is a method of massive facilitation. Also, while demons are aware of the fact, listening, monitoring in real time, as I'm exposing that which is not the natural environment. There are a bunch of demons monitoring. All right, and that's why you also listen to it the moment that they engage in the use of such sirens, which is serving for what is federal prison for every single entity that I'm excuse me, federal prison as I'm documenting the people of the state. Those minions that are on surveillance cameras right now inside of the Upland Public Library. They're on surveillance cameras. The employees, they're on surveillance cameras. Their presence is also a matter of what is nothing other than a work schedule. You're talking about what's no mystery with regard to who you are, where you're at, and engaging in what is that monitoring conduct with the state. All right, and so the entity is engaging what is an act of terrorism while I'm documenting. That is speaking to the unlawful threat. That's the purpose of that. That's the pattern that the entity engages in. And it is not possibly the sun that is over my head with this, which I took a picture of. All right, so this picture is where I'm seated. You could clearly see the Veterans Monument statue that I'm sitting in front of. Fake sun is right there over my head. All right, that is nowhere near Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario. I go into the parking garage. I remain at the 280 North Limit Apartments. I'm standing facing the same Over Family Community Library. We're at 4:05 p.m. while I remain in Ontario, which is nowhere underneath the roof of the Upland Public Library. And in other words, the sun over me at the same time when I'm inside of the Over Family Community, when I'm inside of the Upland Public Library, and while I'm standing outside of the entrance of the Over Family Community Library, where I was present at in video. I captured that at 10:36 a.m. 8 UDS 274, which is again a reference to this same venue, the Upland Public Library, because I use 1036 when I'm showing you inside of the Upland Public Library. The fake sun is right over me while I'm inside, walking from the study room. I'm then walking through the same, where the staircase is, where the entity had a fake sun yesterday into the depths of the afternoon, okay? Where I'm showing you at 10:35 in the morning. License 7WWN510. This is the conduct suggesting that the sun is just sitting over your roof all day long, 7VYP190, and not moving at all. It's just remaining stationary. What the entity is doing, though, is while it's keeping the fake sun visible in places such that the sun is supposedly just remaining stationary, and that's exactly what it is, all the entity is doing is moving directed light inside of the venue all day long. Okay, 8FAF646, 8FTW139. It is entirely asinine in every way. These are the demons possessed that are stalking. 8CCK864 is engaged in criminal summoning. 8MFB000, the same. 8HDE395, 5KHU908, criminal summoning. Molly Super, all of that venue, that entire venue, patrons present engaging in criminal summoning. 8HLG773, license 60291J3. The San Bernardino County Fire Department, this is the Upland District, they're engaged in criminal summoning. Not only based on the fact that you have the entity that uses its sirens to engage in criminal summoning, they are in relevant position and they are monitoring. They are engaged in criminal summoning. License 1178471, that is the city of Upland that's group stalking at the Upland Public Library in directed light. License 7ZQU406, NOREENA, they're engaged in criminal summoning. All right, what you're looking at is this brick wall that's beside the dumpsters. This is where this minion, the city of Upland, is group stalking. This is where the entity is sounding sirens, okay? This is the environment that you're around, and what you're looking at is the placement of engineered light. That's what I zoomed in on. This is the presence of the demon possessed. This is the ongoing system of criminal monitoring. It is literally the work of Satan. That is the impossible placement of light just appearing inexplicably. The sun is supposedly over my head. This is a brick wall that's like in a little cozy downward ramp area, but you have this manifestation of light that's appearing. 88732Y1 is pacing around, doing so where engineered light remains. That's just a very big area where you could see it clearly. The grounds are covered with engineered light. That's what the entity is keeping inside of the Upland Public Library. And you also know that, again, while this entity is engaging what is trespass to my personal property, engaging in what is a threat of physical harm in doing so, while the entity is monitoring while my panties are down via the employee, the Asian female with license 7CJP013, while the entity is engaging in this criminal conduct, they're doing so while the engineered light is remaining after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And let me be clear, that's why Satan is so infuriated. All right, while you're also obviously, you're looking the opposite direction. All right, you're acting like you're not even looking at me, like you're unaware, but then you get up and engage in what is a violation of my personal property, because Satan is very hostile as I'm revealing its criminal conduct. And that criminal conduct is revealing what it is, which is a violent sex offender. All right, and those minions that are stalking with the use of sirens, as I start documenting, they are also monitoring while my panties are down with the employees, again, that I'm speaking to as I name them, with the people of the state who are engaging in surveillance in the venue. They are sex offenders monitoring while my panties are down. That ongoing obsessive knowledge, that ongoing knee-jerk creation of activity. They are maintaining criminal surveillance while the demon-possessed are maintaining presence in the bathroom, where sunlight is not going to be based on what's the sun that's not supposedly based on scientific facts. The science suggests that the sun is an ongoing constant star. And it's not, first of all, in its zenith over my head at Wells Fargo, at Euclid and C Street in Ontario, where I then remain in Ontario, go inside the Overfamily Community Library, show you what's supposedly the sun that's over that elevator, that staircase, where the entity keeps that light activity all day long. But yet you have, when I'm up in California at the same time, the light source and its central presence over my head. That's not occurring at the same time. That's mutually exclusive. Very, very exclusive. It's over the elevator, the staircase in Ontario, over the Overfamily Community Library. It's not over the roof of the Upland Public Library. All right. And also you're looking at that light source while I'm also standing outside. The duration of time as well. The Overfamily Community Library, you're talking 7:34 in the morning, 6:41 in the evening, in that same direction, where the entity is also group stalking by in such incredible manners, such as helicopter, very heavily documented. That's an ongoing hallmark. So all I'm doing is pointing out to you what is the engineered light that fills the venue, the same light that you're looking at on a brick wall. It's outside. That's what's filling the venue. And that's how you have what is an impossible occurrence. The sun is not remaining present over the roof of a single address, let alone meaning, and therefore that's speaking to, because the sun is not some solitary object that's remaining directly over your house or your trailer or wherever it is that you're sleeping outside on say you're outside on a bench. The sun's not going to remain over your head all day long. Okay. It's not going to be over your head from morning until evening, where you remain at one location. Okay. And even as you travel in any direction, the sun is not one that's going to remain in its zenith over you all day long, as that is not the case for everybody else either. At the same time, all around everywhere that we're going, that's not the sun that's in a natural environment. That's demonic. Okay. And what you also see is in that demonic environment, this is also not normal light. This is engineered light, which is what I captured in Ontario while I remained at that Wells Fargo. And I showed you clear images of what's the fake sun literally over the roof of the Wells Fargo, not over anywhere near some Veterans Monument in Upland, California. All right. Which was one of the main points as I pointed out and captured that video. The entity keeping the fake sun over the parking garage, keeping it over the 280 North Lemon Apartments. The same 280 North Lemon Apartments where I've already captured the entity keeping the fake sun well into the evening. But as I reminded you in specific documentation, as I uploaded it onto YouTube and my website, I have the entity keeping the fake sun at that same exact location, molesting with what is directed light while the demon possessed are group stalking, and the entity is attacking with directed light while a minion drives by in a vehicle. And that was at 1:47 in the afternoon, which I reminded you about that pre-existing documentation, which I published next to what is the video of the fake sun right over me at 10:35 a.m., which by virtue of that presence, it's over the roof of the 280 North Lemon Apartments. It's not over the roof of the Upland Public Library. It's not hovering over my head, aiming light horizontally somehow, doing gymnastics in order to appear while I'm looking out the window of that faces the Carnegie Library, and then light also somehow backwards aiming onto the floor inside of that library, and then also my shadow that's appearing upright on the wall. That's all manner of what's demonic, by the way. That's engineered light. Has nothing to do with sunlight. That's what the entity is keeping. And I'm also showing that by virtue of what is the maintenance of that light source. And so, like I said, this is why you're going to federal prison. The entity is engaging in what is harassment as an entity, all right, engaged in federal stalking while I'm capturing what is not possibly sunlight after 5 p.m. inside of the same venue. And the entity is keeping a fake sun. You're talking 9:46 in the morning. That's not the sun. That's not possibly the sun, and it's also not sunlight. Not only based on duration, again, I'm repeating because you need to learn this. These are the multiple ways you're analyzing and understanding the demonic environment. It is in violation, like I said, not just in conflict, it's a violation of scientific facts surrounding the operation of the environment. So you have the duration of time as I isolated to a particular address, the Upland Public Library. This duration of time, that's not sunlight remaining inside, as though the sun is above the roof or somewhere in position, that sunlight somehow aiming into through the windows, which is, again, the unique design of this venue where you can see what the entity is clearly doing. Oh, you're suggesting that that's the sun that's remaining necessarily all day long and aiming sunlight, just going from the left side to the right side, to the front, to the back, literally doing that all day long. And that's not the sun. That's duration of time analysis. And also, what is the mutual zenith? It's not the sun. Also, while I am in the parking lot of the Chino Branch Library, it's directly over my head there, and it remained there. Okay, it's not the sun that would possibly be here based on this duration as well at the Upland Public Library when you're remaining over me at Wells Fargo, and then I go inside of the Overfamily Community Library. And the directed light inside of that venue. This is the consistent P.O.C. Now you're understanding what is the sex offender. The sex offender are all of those who you see in images engaging in surveillance inside of the Upland Public Library, and they are engaged in criminal summoning. Some of whose license plates I just recited, that is a sample of the entity engaging in that criminal conduct. And that is not the totality of it, but I'm speaking to my presence. I'm speaking to those who are amongst those that are present as an entity, the venues where I'm located, speaking to the specific criminal system that is underway. On behalf of that government that's stalking after 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning by helicopter. This is that same entity that is stalking in bathrooms, engaging in what is the entirely demented and deranged and extraordinarily gross conduct of stalking with audible activity creation while my panties are down, genitalia exposed, engaging in private activity, engaging in that level of obsessive stalking. That obsession is demonstrated through the light activity. All right. There's no direction that you're looking, showing that you're anything other than a demon. All right. And not only that, you're a criminal engaging in what is surveillance with the state, and you are doing so in whatever capacity that you hold. A minion that's remaining present at the venue, irrelevant position outside, inside, working, or working out and around the venue. This is criminal surveillance. And that criminal surveillance system is the perpetuation of a violent sex offense. All right. And this is the demon possession. This is demonic activity as well, to be prosecuted as terrorism. It's currently 10:18 a.m. And this is P.O.C. at the Upland Public Library. And as I was at the 280 North Lemon Apartments at the same exact time, I will show you what is the maintenance of this fake sun while I am standing here at the entrance, which is mutually exclusive to being over me, for example, in Chino, California, to being over me while I'm encountering the demon bearing weapons, engaging group stalking. That is the demon with the Ontario Police Department in Ross. As again, I remained in Ontario, and that fake sun is over me while I'm at American Legion at Emporia, which is across the street, by the way, from literally across the parking lot in the street of from the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where I documented the fake sun that remained after 5:35. It was around 5:45 p.m. That's not the sun. All right. This is just ongoing documentation of it. It's currently 10:18 a.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 10:29 a.m. And I'm showing you the light activity. First of all, it's the same light activity that I captured 2 hours from now after 12, where I was showing you what's the fake sun, where directed light was just appearing and disappearing. You'll see while I'm on one side of the staircase, this minion with the pink shirt, she's got the 2 young children. She's group stalking, standing under the staircase, and then directed light starts flashing and appearing inside of the venue, which is an act of terrorism. This is engineered light, and the entity is engaging what is this engineered light, the shape of the windows, just starts appearing on the ground, which I captured images of. This is after 12 p.m. And I pointed that out because it's when I'm documenting at D Street and Euclid Avenue. I remember when I stayed in Ontario a couple days ago, and the entity was keeping a fake sun where the Ontario Police Department were engaging in criminal summoning, and I showed you close-up images of that demon driving that police vehicle, and the fake sun is right over the vehicle, right over me as I capture that. And this is at around 12:16 p.m. I'm capturing images at between 12:16, 12:20, 12:25, where I'm in Ontario, and I'm showing you what is the fake sun that's over me at the same time when I'm inside of the building of the Upland Public Library. That is what I captured the other day. This is what I pointed out yesterday. While that direct light, which goes nowhere, the environment remains, okay? And you're talking about what is covering up your fake sun as though it's a cloudy day, all right? Because this is how we are referencing the so-called natural environment. Oh, it's just a cloudy day. I'm showing you actually what's real-time demonic control over the environment, especially as I am documenting and revealing to you that this is an unnatural environment. Okay. And also specifically, let me also point something else out to you. While I am literally naming Ontario Police Department officers, while I am naming the police department, in other words, and identifying specific actors such as M. Ross, the entity, I don't know why you don't take so much care with regard to the people of the state who I'm also documenting by name. But you have what is, again, it is equally probative. It is equally compelling evidence. It is direct evidence of what the people of the state and the Ontario Police Department are engaging in and their condition and what they have been engaging in for years and all the criminal conduct that they engaged in while this criminal system has remained underway. So as I'm documenting that, then the entity is engaging in what is conduct of what is a cloudy day, which is in no way any departure from that same exact pattern of conduct. Covering up your fake sun, which is already documented over me at 8:50 in the morning, and then having it arrive while I'm at the same venue where the sun, this is supposedly the sun, and that's why it is equally impossible when you begin flashing directed light as though that's sunlight inside of the venue as of 12:20 in the afternoon, and it's remaining until well after 5 and into the evening where I'm leaving. And you're doing the exact same thing, keeping the light source on the same street as I exit and get on the bus. That's the same exact pattern of conduct. And that is the same exact engagement in what is conduct where you are witnessing what is necessarily suggesting the impossible, that the sun, based on scientific facts, is not moving. It's remaining over one building. It's remaining over one street. It's in perfect alignment, aiming light specifically onto and around where I am located. And this is also not even normal light. It's engineered light. This is the P.O.C. And so what I captured right now is first of all, what I'm going to remind you about. This is the same exact light activity that's present inside of the venue, which I documented 26 hours from now, because it's 2 hours from now where I step out and the entity just engages with what is shining brightly. It's directed light. And that's the same positioning of that light activity. And this is the ongoing consistent ability for me to, it's inconsistent with regard to what the entity is doing with light. And why? Because the entity is stalking me with light. So where I go, that's where that light source, that's where that light activity is centered. But also it's consistent documentation of what is that inconsistency, what is that impossibility, what is that stalking with light conduct, very demented, okay? This is speaking to the demented condition of those who are in that environment. Demons that are stalking with methods of ongoing noise creation. Demons that are stalking in the path while that engineered light remains present. Demons that are stalking in concert and on behalf of the demons who are stalking me by helicopters and police officers. Okay, engaging in what is maintenance of noise on a grander scale, sounding sirens while they're group stalking. Okay, it's currently 10:33 a.m. and this is documentation of federal stalking by entity in the bathroom. And so I did capture the images of the light activity around the computer area on the floor. And you're talking about, it's even aside from what I'm pointing out, just that detail, that's the same exact light activity that I captured 2 hours from now. But not only that, the entity's light source is remaining, engineered light is remaining inside of this venue, just cycling it all day long until well after 5 o'clock in the afternoons. It's suggesting that the sun is, you're not moving, the sun is not moved for that to be the case. If you are suggesting that the sun is at some point in the day over the address of 450 North Euclid Avenue directly above the roof, and so you're creating this is sunlight because that's the sun, but that's not the sunlight, that's not the sun that would remain for the duration of the day, which my documentation has consistently shown. You also know it's not the sun because when I'm in an entirely different city, you're talking about not only, yes, Chino, but my documentation, remember, during daylight savings time, it is still the same time frame and it's still directly relevant. I remain and have gone to Pomona, California. That's not anywhere going to occur. All right, I'm just reminding you about what did I just document the other day. But you have to maintain a very long memory when you're documenting a government. And there is no way whatsoever under any circumstances is this the natural environment. I do go through and belabor the point with regard to understanding what is very, very clear. But again, you have what is an entity that is seeking to, well, this is not actually evidence that's in any way addressing the entity. This is serving to document and prosecute the entity. But like again, with regard to what is evidence as I'm publishing it in real time, and I am making sure that you are clearly aware of what is an impossibility to be the case with regard to what's supposedly the natural environment, the way that science supposedly suggests the environment works. On its face, it's impossible. And there is no way that it is made possible at all. You're going to remember even farther than that, I'm in Pomona and there's no time where the sun is going to be present over the roof. And I'm in Pomona in the morning. During all times where I am remaining in the Upper Public Library, I am in Pomona or en route from Pomona going to back to Fontana. That's evidence that is speaking to what the entity is doing here. The entity is keeping its fake sun over the same exact street where I am present, as I pointed out yesterday in the evening, where the entity's fake sun is running across, in alignment with me where we're at, for example, American Inn at H Street, H as in Henry, and Euclid Avenue. That same venue, I'm present there in the morning, early in the morning, okay, during the 7 o'clock hour. All right, so during daylight savings time, that would be 8 o'clock in the morning, okay? Equally impossible. The duration of the entire day. And so you're talking about what is months later where the entity is still stalking with the fake sun. That's how you document an entity and showing you what is stalking with an environment that is out of bounds with nature. Nature as we know it. All right. This is, again, that's the big picture. That is the big picture. And this is in every way speaking to what is the conduct as you're witnessing it, as I'm pointing that out to you. Yeah, it's a big hint when the entity's stalking by helicopter. And that is literally the evidence. While I'm documenting during the day, the entity's environment, which is an entirely abnormal one, all right, in violation of literal science. And this is where I'm documenting. I'm just one person and I'm documenting. Guess what? There is ongoing evidence of what's going on in the natural environment, what's going on in the world outside of even where I am in California. Supposedly the sun is rising in the Bay in Northern California. Well, that's not what's going on at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where I sleep and where I get up. The entity's keeping a fake moon and a fake sun directly over me. And that's nowhere near the bay in Northern California. That's not rising over there. All right. So like I said, this is not an existence in a vacuum, but I have so thoroughly documented. My documentation unilaterally is establishing what the state of California is doing and what the condition of those in the state of California is as a matter of objective evidence. It is literally doing what is extraordinary, and this is providing what is objective evidence of what is a condition that you cannot even physically perceive, revealing the demon possession that is, and that demon possession is directly relevant to a criminal system. And this is what this documentation is revealing all at the same time. And what remains relevant is, again, what is even going on in the rest of the world. Because I tell you what, the sun, as it's remaining over the Upland Public Library, that's speaking to what's exclusive sky space. And so if you're suggesting that the sun is at the same time over the sky, directly over anything in Dallas, Texas, for example, where it's hot, extremely hot, and there's a light source in the sky, it's not the same light source. That's the impossibility of that. And you're understanding what is actually in conflict with what is science based on, again, that same analysis duration and what's supposed to be some mutual zenith, somebody observing the sun in Dallas, Texas, in a position where it's over your head or over some building, anywhere, because you're actually not going to see it anywhere while it's remaining over the Upland Public Library from Dallas, Texas. You're not. All right. But you have what is, again, witnessing that. This is exposing what is that entire demonic system. And so then when you're witnessing that, which is what I've shown, then you're looking at all the content. This is how you know what they're doing. The entity starts sounding sirens as I start documenting, and I'm documenting on a communication device. That's audible activity while the demons are surrounding physically. That's the group stalking in the engineered light under the light source. That is the demonic targeting system. That is terrorism. All right. And that follows into what are private spaces where the government and the government that is acting via the people of the state are engaging in criminal surveillance. That's a sex offense, an unprecedented one. All right. And not only that, they are of a specific condition engaging in that unprecedented sex offense. These are demons who know what you're doing while they're physically stalking inside of the bathroom, outside of the bathroom, all around the bathroom, engaging in that demonic behavioral pattern of stalking with noise, creating noise with simultaneity to what you are physically doing. And so in other words, and I'm going to break down what the entity was doing, because this is a sexual violence that the entity is engaging in, and you will publicly expose that government, as you will publicly also prosecute and expose and name those violent sex offenders of that condition, the minions of Satan, to be put on the map in that regard, and subject to what is a federal prosecution for their criminal conduct, while they're engaging in what is nothing other than demonic activity. And so while my legs are spread open, while my genitalia is exposed, while I'm engaging in what is in all regard private activity, with simultaneity to that, creating audible activity inside of the private space. And this is specifically attributed to what should be the entity using the method of what is slamming doors. Everything is loud around demons. And let me be clear, it is the intent when you are establishing the environment. The environment is established. Okay, this is engineered light. This is the light source. This is the criminal setting. You're a sex offender stalking with noise, and you're doing so while I'm in the bathroom. That's a violent sex offender, a very violent sex offender. And that is the conduct while the entity is engaging in what is physically stalking in the bathroom, as I documented last night. This demon is just in the bathroom engaging in the same conduct, using whatever they have inside of that bathroom stall, while Satan is literally in an adjacent stall, knowing what I'm doing and creating noise with simultaneity as I do it. That's entirely gross. It's disgusting. It is sexually motivated. It's very deranged. Okay, this is speaking to the ways in which you're going to prosecute. That is the sex offense. One of the ways in which the entity is a perpetual sex offender. And it is also that which is done in concert on behalf of a government. This is establishing what the government and the people of the state, and every method of presence by the people of the state. The people of the state includes companies. Or they like to use their company brands. That is speaking to, as a matter of justice, what you are necessarily including in a prosecution, civil and criminal. You want to engage in what is state surveillance. Justice requires that you are confronting every method of that criminal system. And that is the prosecution of the people of the state, engaging in what is companies engaging in what is the conduct of a sex offense on behalf and in concert of that entity. All right, and I've documented all the ways in which the people of the state engage in that sexual violence in concert with the people who are engaging in surveillance in bathrooms. And it is entirely pathetic. All right, you're looking at it one way, that's very pathetic. A whole bunch of people together, all you guys are stalking one person. What is going on with your life? Like, why would it serves no legitimate purpose? It does not even make any logical sense why you would do that. But that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what I've shown. The evidence demonstrates, reveals what they're doing. Every allegation is specifically substantiated with evidence. And so, and this is long existing evidence speaking to a very well-documented pattern of conduct. And so, anyway, it's 10:42 a.m. and this is the maintenance of the light source, and that light activity is speaking to what is monitoring that I'm subject to inside of the private space by a bunch of minions. This is terrorism while you are aware of the fact that you're subject, and all I'm doing is articulating to you what the ordinary target individual is subject to, and based on what they are subject to, that infliction of ongoing harm, all right, both physical, psychological, okay, financial. Okay, you're talking every way in which the entity is inflicting harm to the target individual. I'm doing nothing but articulating it to you and also pointing out, in case you are ignorant of that, of the law and the ways in which legislation needs to address it. All right, it is a method of terrorism. It is ongoing terrorism while you are aware of the fact that you are being targeted, and then the demented conduct, the demented condition of those who are stalking together. All right, stalking physically, stalking in this engineered light that's surrounding and following and molesting, and stalking as with ongoing, the maintenance of audible activity, the ongoing noise. That's entirely sick. All right, and it does not have any limits. It's following you into the bathroom. All right, and you know that as a matter of evidence. You have the specific environment, which is literally in conflict and violation of science. You have no argument as to where you are while you're engaging in what is based on that presence of that environment. You know exactly what you're doing, and you're doing it intentionally in this specific environment. You're a sex offender, and that's surrounding that entity with that direct evidence of it. That is not circumstantial. It's direct evidence of federal group stalking and monitoring. It's currently 10:44 a.m. This is P.O.C. at the Upland Public Library, where the entity is keeping a fake sun. It's nowhere near the Ovid Family Community Library. It's certainly nowhere near Chino, California. And as my documentation, as I left from Fontana, a very infuriated aspect of the entity that I heavily documented, and I'm still documenting them, and they're going to federal prison. As I continuously remind you, as I capture the entity stalking obsessively by helicopter, they're going to federal prison. That's what you were doing. This is the government you were monitoring with. The entity was stalking me by helicopter at your venue, and then you engage in obstruction of justice. All right, let me be clear. That's no small thing, trying to exclude from the venue where the target individual is subject to whatever circumstances they have in their life. It is a method of intruding into that legal process, period. You intrude, you go into federal prison. Okay, and I said it in that way on purpose. You shall be subject to federal prison. This is the intolerable conduct of a corrupt government seeking to obstruct justice, and every method employed subject to what is a very intense and necessarily intense response, okay? And it is the conduct of the very highly malicious and demon-possessed entity, all right? It is currently 10:45 a.m., and this is P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 2:18 p.m. 2:17 p.m. You have this demon-possessed entity following into the bathroom to engage in what is criminal monitoring and doing it inside of what is the private space. The entirety of the Upland Public Library is illuminated with what is engineered light. This is the violent sex offender stalking in the private space and doing so and on behalf of the state of California. It's 2:18 p.m. This is the maintenance of the light source over the venue, which again is an impossibility in and of itself with regard to duration. Showing you the fake sun before 10 o'clock in the morning. The entity is maintaining the light source and engineered light, and you have the demons that are physically stalking, that engage in what is stalking with noise inside of the bathroom, that entirely sexually perverted and gross conduct. It is currently 2:18 p.m. This is criminal monitoring in the private space. This is P.O.C. While I document, the entity continuously engaging in that pattern of conduct. So this is monitoring the documentation of the sex offender while it's aware that you're documenting it. That's relevant to federal prison. All right. This is Upland Public Library. It's P.O.C. as I stated that seconds ago. Boom, heard in the bathroom. That's amplified audible activity while this demon is stalking in the path in the bathroom stall. It's 2:19 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently 6:36 p.m. and this is the facilitating venue of Upland Public Library. The entity engaging in ongoing surveillance inside of the private space and doing so with what are minor children as well, especially engaging in surveillance inside of the study rooms, engaging in this criminal system together in the same exact environment. By the same exact environment, the point of mentioning that is that there is no difference, there's no deviation from what is the demonic environment and the demonic conduct. in doing so literally just with children in tow. So this is that public corruption that's, as I'm revealing it, and the demented criminal activity by a people who do so while they are, as families, engaging in what is group stalking, with children engaging in what is group stalking, and demonic activity in concert with children that you're in the company of. It's entirely demented. And this is the demon possessed, all right, engaging in this criminal system. And this is ongoing where I remain inside of the Upland Public Library right now, inside of study room number 1, too. Excuse me, inside of study room number 1. In addition to that, it's currently 6:37 p.m. Alrighty, you do have the demons that are waiting until the moment I pull my panties down. That's relevant because they're the demon possessed. They're third parties engaging in surveillance, and that is that ongoing conduct of crossing a path, activity creation in the private space, sexually offensive, and with regard to ongoing real-time knowledge as to what you're doing inside of that private space and choosing that precise moment to cross path. This demon is captured engaging what is monitoring with the employees who are crossing path on surveillance cameras. They're pacing back and forth, talking to patrons. They're monitoring. And this demon walks in and does so, waits to the very precise moment till I pull my panties down, okay, and then she is crossing path. This is how the demon possessor are engaging what is sexually violent conduct. This is how they're engaging in targeting you. So I'm spelling that out because it is sexual violence amongst a demented entity that is placing under surveillance and then also monitoring documentation. And this is also the way that they engage in what is showing hostility and intending to sexually offend while they are monitoring. It is currently 6:43 p.m. and this is, again, Upland Public Library. This is the state that's stalking by helicopters and by demon-possessed police officers. They are engaging in the sex offense together and doing so as an entity, doing so inside of the private space. This is Upland Public Library, okay? This is P.O.C.
8YDG062 and UPS crossing path. Omnitrans license 1404974. Alrighty, that is bus number 1330. Monitoring with the minion that got off the bus is an underage actor. The entity, again, Omnitrans is monitoring. So they're stopping at the bus stop. An underage minion who's on operation communication device, he's monitoring. This is the entity engaging in that criminal system with minors. And then also engaging what is harassment. They're monitoring me, so you know that I'm behind the bus. So anyway, that's them driving off, which is crossing path in directed light under the fake sun, and also engaging in that criminal conduct with an underage actor engaging in terrorism, okay? 7FRB 169, 8WPC 796, 7NHW 725, 8VBZ 509, monitoring with minor children. And you can see that I captured that criminal. He's a criminal. These minions with communication devices under the age of majority are engaging in criminal conduct, and they will be prosecuted. All right, they know exactly what they're doing. They engage in what is the demonic behavioral pattern, them and their parents, 8JQL 509, and they will be subject to prosecution. And based on this criminal system, they will be documented just like every other minion. And the people of the state expose their own children to that documentation. They don't even, that's what they do. I literally documented that. You send in your underage children in the bathroom, you're monitoring documentation, you know they're about to be documented, and you're sending them in to engage in what is sexually violating another while you sit around and monitor on a computer. That's like sick all the way around. And it's also showing what is, again, a lack of concern for why would you expose your child to being placed on, but it's for the good. It's for understanding the criminal system. You need to know there is no limit with regard to age. 5 UVC 985 with regard to age and this demonic possession principle, and also the criminal system 50509M3. And there is a reason why communication devices, and that's a technical term, cell phones. There's a reason why cell phones are so popular in California. There's a reason why there's a reliance on it. You almost need one in order to not be left behind in specifically the state of California, but pretty much in the country. That's how they've made that. And this is, let me point out, federal group stalking and monitoring is the underlying purpose for that. Understand that. 8GQX283, this reliance on the internet, all right, this breakout of what we've got, diseases and sicknesses now that causes us to rely more on the internet, communication devices, 8ZJZ098, 8NXB192, molesting, 67604W1. And so this use of these cell phones, this is what teenagers are. They know exactly what they're doing. And not only that, they're demons. They're engaging in a demonic behavioral pattern. These are the demon-possessed who are under the age of majority as well. And all they are doing is engaging in what is the use of their communication device in that engineered light while they're maintaining the elements of monitoring. They are engaged in very serious federal crimes with the state, with the people of the state. All right, 8R QS 370 LOUSLUV, molesting with directed light. And that is, again, what I want to speak to, omnitrans engaging in that criminal system with a minor child used as a means of crossing path and harassment. 52095S2. You're monitoring me. You know I'm behind the bus and speeding off while you stop to monitor, okay? 6VVG245, 7LHT953, 8XQD914. And these minions, bursting into the bathroom. This is the entity acting as together. Waiting until my panties are down, 8RSG646, in order to specifically sexually offend while monitoring. 8PES682, molesting with minor children in the backseat. And this is a demon molesting with directed light. The same with this license plate, 8LBJ408. This is the entity that burst into the bus. The people of the state are documented. I captured this demon's image, and this is the same exact entity that is now under what is, again, a fake sun that is on the same street it was this morning, okay? I showed you as I'm walking out the venue right now of the Upland Public Library, I captured Impossible Light. The fake sun is right there at the entry as I step out the door. 7YTL397. This is the same exact entity that I just documented moments ago, bursting into the bathroom and waiting till the precise second that I pull my panties down. Then that demon enters the bathroom, which is crossing path, audible activity creation. It's a method of stalking with activity. It is also with the criminal purpose and sexually motivated intent to offend, okay? Sexually offend. 7RZZ302, CC89K18 paper, 8LVS272, 5TNR317, 8AHX075. This is what the entity is doing also with regard to when you're documenting, then you are subject to what is monitoring that you're aware of. 8FYS746, and this is how the demon-possessed are enabled with 8BMH068 with the intent to sexually offend. They know that they're being monitored. Let me go walk into the bathroom right now. Let me wait till they pull their pants down. Let me wait till they wipe their behinds or something like that. Okay, that's what they're doing. 8JRT887, until you're touching your anatomy. This is how the entity is engaged. This is how demons are sexually offending, okay? When you're aware of what are also the elements of monitoring, 8FUA658, and the condition of those who are monitoring you. 74833F1, that's entirely demented. 8SUU369, and they do that as families. They do that holding the hands of children. They do that with their 8EOH757. They do that with their spouses and whatnot, as though this is public corruption, and they want to maintain that outward appearance as though it's just normal conduct. They just walk into the bathroom. It's just nature calling, and it's not. It's under the fake sun. It's in directed light. It's amongst ongoing amplified audible activity. It's a method of stalking with the creation of audible activity inside of that specific venue of what is a private space, and doing so with knowledge of all of these facts around that. And this is revealing what is that sex offender. Okay, and so that is the breakdown of what is the sexual violence of a demon-possessed entity. 8SKZ631, placing you under surveillance, and then also that impermissible threat. All right, 8VVP249, subject to federal prison for being a sex offender. 7GND113 in this regard. Okay, and also at third-party facilitating venue 477 Euclid Avenue. The people of the state in relevant position, I'm subject to that molestation right here at that venue. Directed light is moving across the property. 6JVZ644 is a demon molesting an Impossible Light while she is sitting outside monitoring. All right, that's at 461. She's a sex offender and going to federal prison. All right, understand that? The entity is molesting me with light, and this demon is where she lives. You're not going to be sheltered from nowhere. You see how they're monitoring while the entity is molesting? That demon is at 461 Euclid Avenue monitoring, surrounding. License 7HJY103, 7TJN533, 6DKW417, 7SJS460. And what you'll see is as I am turning around, okay, I'm at the bus stop, 8ZKP456, as I turn around and at the bus stop and I'm looking at house numbers, she is getting up and walking into her house. She knows that I'm documenting. 29486F1. Bella Casa, that's a commercial vehicle. 8YXBC86, I believe. License ACMPNST. And that is let me be clear, the sex offense, which is at this point, the entity is posing the impermissible threat. This is all grounds of federal prison as you are continuously documenting the entity. And 8SFT379, this minion at 461 Euclid Avenue, not by herself, okay? 477 North Euclid Avenue, the people of the state at 14 Arrow Highway in Upland, California, at 30 Arrow Highway in Upland, California, at 22 Arrow Highway in Upland, California. I'm just speaking to what are the addresses right here, okay? Sam's Liquor, right here on Arrow Highway. Excuse me, that's Sam's Market, Sammy's Market. Sammy's 5 Market right here on Euclid Avenue. They're engaging in what is that P.O.C. 8 MIM 453 is molesting while they are monitoring. And guess what they're also doing? This demon at 461 knows that I'm here, is molesting with these minions. She was also monitoring with the demon that stepped in the bathroom and waited till I pulled my panties down to do so. A sex offender in that regard. And it is the grounds of federal prison. 8 YIP 357 molesting. 2639796, that's Ryder, molesting. The back plate is 6471 STT. It is currently 6:56 p.m. And this is again, speaking to what I'm documenting are people that are going to federal prison for this. And it's going on the criminal record of the people of the state, all right? License plate, HCFF655. And Omnitrans is molesting as well. It's 6:56 p.m. Hello? Alrighty, it is 6:57 p.m., so I'm on Omnitrans Route 60, not Route 60, Route 83. And going southbound on Euclid Avenue right now at 6:57 p.m. And the fake sun is in. You can see it right out the window, and that's exactly where it is upon my exit of the Upland Public Library, right? That's the specific pattern of conduct. And the entity is, again, not just AENA 951. It's not just the license plates, again, with regard to the documentation of an entity. This is the people of the state that are acting together as one. And you're talking about what is spanning a radius. For example, the Grossman Law Center. This is the facilitating venue on Euclid Avenue. They are in relevant position and have been engaged in criminal monitoring as I remain subject to it for the duration of the day. They are documented as engaging in what is sexually violent surveillance in the bathroom on behalf of the state, while the people of the state are maintaining presence as the entity and doing so inside of that private space. Grossman Law Center is documented as that sex offender. All right, and that's what I continuously am documenting. 6 VDC 267, 8 WSB 278, 7 HDM 811. And so I'm just speaking to, and you're understanding what is the reality of that documentation and the implications. It's criminal monitoring with communication devices. It is state surveillance. It is not limited to the minion that I'm capturing images stalking in the bathroom. It's not even limited to the license plates in the parking lot at that specific address. That is relevant to where you are and where the entity is concentrating and keeping an entirely impossible environment, subject to the P.O.C. in other words. And you're talking about what is criminal monitoring that spans a radius. Everybody is going to be prosecuted for that, and it's beyond that physical address. In addition to that, you're talking about what's going on the criminal record of the people of the state that will be prosecuted as the unit that they are, okay? But you have those who are documented, and necessarily so, because you're going to federal prison for engaging in a molestation, posing an impermissible threat, seeking to perpetually sexually offend. You're in all manner of what is a gross psychopath, engaging in the criminal system on behalf of a state that's stalking by helicopters, and you're terrorizing through the day by stalking in bathrooms on behalf of that government, and in doing so with an intent to try to sexually offend as well while you do that, and then you're monitoring the documentation. This is all manner of what are animals, okay, that's the impermissible threat beyond what is the necessary elements for posing that impermissible threat. The entity is years into that territory, and I'm documenting those who are going to federal prison. All right, but this is also establishing what's the precedent, how you're documenting an entity, what's the implications of the documentation that you are collecting, where you're at, okay, the venue, your address, the pattern of conduct that the entity is engaging in, because monitoring is beyond the address where you're located. All right, anyway, it's currently 7 p.m. Caltrans is stalking in the path of light activity. XLN 500. And that analysis applies for 99402K2, but that analysis applies for the criminal acts such as criminal summoning. Obviously, you're talking about what is massive surveillance and massive facilitation. Using sirens, using the sound of the train. Guess what? Grossman Law Center is being documented. They're in relevant position. It is enabling everybody to monitor you.
that's exactly how you're going to be prosecuted as well. So just making sure that you are remaining cognizant while you are listening to me read a particular license plate or read off an address where I'm located. Everybody is being prosecuted, prosecuted, but documented at the same time. Okay. So like I said, it's currently 7:01 p.m. And that is necessary as a matter of justice when a government's engaging in what is this sort of bullying, gang, sort of group, state organized type of system, where you're going to systematically document and serve for what is a very itemized and a very, I would say, proficient prosecution. It's very, very, the word I'm looking for, it's very efficient. When you're documenting the people of the state, you're documenting an entity, and that's because that's how they're operating. They're not operating as individuals; they're operating as an entity. You don't even know ordinarily that actually they represent all of the government that's placing you under surveillance, because you're supposed to be looking at one person and claiming that one person, a stranger, is stalking you, and it's beyond that. And then you have no way of showing that that one person is stalking you because you've probably only encountered them once, if twice, because it's group stalking. It's not relying on one person; it's group conduct. Multiplicity of faces, same exact environment, same exact behavior, different faces. That's what group stalking is, and it's demonic. It's also with regard to what's the same entity. It's the same state of California. It's the same demon possession. It's the same demonic entity. This is Satan working amongst the people. Anyway, it's currently 7:03 p.m. and this is bus 1330. I don't see her employee number being displayed. This is African American female, long individuals. Individuals, by that I'm referencing her hairstyle, synthetic braids. It looks like the coach operator is 3590. That's per the display. And it's currently 7:03 p.m. 5LJK 909 79949L1. He's sitting in his car monitoring while I'm on the bus. We're at the red light. He's group stalking parked outside of Zolo's BD area. License 8 PRA 613, and he is a Latino male. All right, this bus that I'm on with employee, whose employee number I read, I believe it's 3590. This is bus number 1330-1330 and license plate 1404974. She is, again, an African-American female with long, dark, synthetic braids, individuals. 8WYS 971. She is loitering in relevant position with light activity. 68NS 349. 7JCD 719. 8GEP 047. 7YRF 326. She just pulled off right now. Proceeding again, what is south on Euclid Avenue. License plate 7UZE 570. 5VYJ 973. 6WSR 773. 92756R2. 7CIX 253. 77903D2. 8CBC 294. 8FFC 003. 8FOB 547. 7MEW 060, 8KSH 146, 83028, I can't really see the rest of them, 4CLZ 538, 6TRH 517, 6TEF 487, 7WYZ 342, 5EUA 608. This one is 8SEB 004, 7PZS 583. 7SNK 841, 7PCZ 816, 8AJN 277. I read that one. I think I read that one. SUPRAFAM, I believe. Route 87 is license 1399980, bus 1266. Crossing path at 708 p.m. Again, well, no, I don't get mixed up, but I was being a little facetious. Both at 7:08 in the morning and 7:08 in the evening, the fake sun is over me at the same exact intersection, so forgive me. That's literally what's going on too. AGIT 685-7XUA-494. Ooh, wee boy. It's not 7:08 in the morning. It's 7:08 in the evening, but you have the same setting of what is, again, this circus-like environment where demons are stalking. And they call themselves the citizens of the state of California. They're the demon-possessed population. 7ELZ163 85815S2 4TQR035 6Y93744 7PPJ592 8V. I can't really see that when you scratch that one. 7PLT964 8VVH128 is, I think, what that license plate says. 7HCB816 6MKP394 7KQA363 6NUD773 14045N1 8GAZ974. Alrighty, it is currently 7:10 p.m. 7N64406. License 8TZK797. Anyway, it's 7:10 p.m. Let's see, 6Z174C1, I believe. 8U99516. That one's definitely correct. And the shadow of these demons driving these vehicles is reaching up toward the sidewalk on the museum. And I've shown you in my video before, the museum is actually elevated from the sidewalk, and so that's quite a distance. And their shadows are reaching all the way up. This is engineered light, and their crossing path is another method of touching an engineered light. The shadows of their vehicles reaching all the way across up that elevated ground in order to create light activity. In other words, the moving shadow of the vehicles is movement and engineered light. All right, and you have the people of the state in surveillance at the museum. Right, you got a minion that's over here acting like they're sleeping while Union Pacific is engaging in its ongoing demonic ranting. This minion's not sleeping. You're not sleeping in directed light, by the way. Satan doesn't sleep, just so you know. This is group stalking, maintaining presence around me at the museum in that specific environment, that ongoing obsessed stalker that also likes to burst into the bathroom or just sit around and be present in the bathroom, be in the bathroom before me or follow me into the bathroom. And let me be clear, being in the bathroom before the target individual is following into the bathroom. This is criminal surveillance. The entity is tracking your every steps and making sure that there is presence everywhere that you go. That's what group stalking is. This entity, in every way, you're looking at what is the false premises upon which traditional stalking and literally the false notion that group stalking cannot in any way be identified or prosecuted or documented. All you're doing is understanding what an entity is doing, surrounding you at all times and at all places. And it is the work of what is an entirely demented and deranged entity. All right, only Satan, and Satan is real. All right, because that's not just me telling you that, I actually showed it to you. Okay, what is directed light? It's the evidence of Satan. It's 7:12 p.m. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. The Ontario Police engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. This is terrorism, stalking by helicopter at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts on May 18, 2022 at 9:55 p.m., which is captured on video. All right, this is the entity. I want to show you video. The entity is repeatedly flying back and forth right here in front of me. I'm on YouTube. I'm watching videos, and the entity is just remaining in front of me, just flying repeatedly over and around me. It is currently 9:56 p.m. This is not only audible activity. Now it's flying in a different direction because I started capturing video. It has remained right here, just flying in circles. This is the psychopath. The Ontario Police Department are monitoring while the entity is flying over me by helicopter, okay, and monitoring with the people of the state. This is stalking. This is stalking, okay, by the government and with the people of the state. This is the entity that was stalking in the bathroom stall, waiting until the moment that I pulled my panties down, and then that demon enters into the bathroom in order to engage in what this demon is doing in a helicopter, crossing path, doing so in engineer light, while the entity keeps engineer light inside of the Upland Public Library all day long, as though the sun remained over that address of 450 North Euclid Avenue, the Upland Public Library. The sun is not remaining exclusively over that address all day, and sunlight is not being aimed inside the Upland Public Library for the duration of the day. I captured video at 9:40, excuse me, I took pictures of the light source directly above me at 9:47 a.m. And you're talking about what is the entity keeping that light source over that venue until the end of the day. 6 o'clock I exited. Excuse me, after 6 o'clock. Okay, you're talking about after 6:30 p.m. That is not the sun. And the entity is crossing paths like the demons that are the people of the state stalking me in the bathroom on behalf of that government that's stalking by helicopter right now, was remaining right here. The moment that I start capturing video, then flies in this direction, which is still group stalking conduct. Understand that demon just doesn't want me to capture ongoing video of this psychopath that's flying in circles repeatedly. That's exactly what they were doing before I started capturing this video right now. And I want to be clear, what I documented on my podcast, the pattern of conduct, the P.O.C. My podcast is documenting this government, this very government that's stalking in the bathroom. This is the perpetual sex offender. That is how the state of California and the people of the state shall be prosecuted. And the people of the state engaging in stalking in bathrooms on behalf of this government. That's what group stalking is. It is also what is a violent sex offense, as I'm documenting how the entity engages in this conduct, this obsessive stalking into the bathroom. Okay? This psychopath conduct following me into the bathrooms, wherever it is that I go. And the entity engaging in what is a sex offense, and I'm publishing it on video because it needs to be known what the government is doing. While you see it stalking me by helicopter, this government is stalking me in the private space of what are the bathrooms, wherever it is that I am located, through the demon-possessed entity that are the people of the state group stalking on behalf of the state of California. And the entity engaging in what is the sexually motivated and predatory and reprehensible act of group stalking in the bathroom, waiting until the moment that my panties are down and entering in with that ongoing knowledge of exactly what I'm doing in that private space to engage in what is that sexually offensive criminal surveillance conduct, the elements of monitoring, activity creation, relevant positioning, while group stalking. And this is what the entity is doing, crossing path and engineer light. That's what the entity is doing, that sex offender stalking in the bathroom. And again, these are the employees at the Upland Public Library who I'm documenting group stalking while they're on the job monitoring with the minions who are group stalking at that Upland Public Library, okay? And this includes Sandy and Elaine and those minions who I'm documenting who are group stalking on an ongoing basis. They're violent sex offenders of the female and male gender. This is demonic activity. It's not about your race. It's not about your gender. They're violent sex offenders, though. And you're talking about what is the doing so on behalf of this government that is stalking me at 9:59 p.m. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts in engineered light. I am subject to criminal monitoring, and this is also what is terrorism on its face, while the government is flying in circles over and over around me by helicopter. And then the coward that is obsessively stalking just flies out of vision in order to not be seen on camera anymore. Before I started rolling this camera, just flying like a psychopath that it is, over and over and over again right here in front of me. This is demonic, okay? And it's terrorism on its face, and it's also what is criminal monitoring in violation of Title 18. And this is going toward the prosecution of the people of the state. All right, the people of the state, every corner of California is going to be prosecuted. The people of the state of California are engaging in what is a satanic targeting system on behalf of the state of California. And while I am in Ontario, I am documenting what the entire state is engaged in. All right, it is currently 10 p.m. and this is P.O.C. This is video documentation captured on May 18, 2022 at 10:44 p.m. The Ontario Police are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, engaging in terrorism, stalking me with helicopter at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. All right, it is currently 10:44 p.m. and I want to make sure I specify this is the entity flying within view of my camera, has not stopped flying around and sounding helicopter activity. In other words, ongoing terrorism since the last video that I captured, okay? The entity is just now flying in front in order for me to capture it on video. This is ongoing ceaseless stalking that I'm subject to at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, which is criminal surveillance. Okay, the government does not have the legal right to place you under surveillance outside or inside of your own home. This is criminal conduct that I am documenting while I am in a position to show you how the government is placing American citizens under surveillance. And when you are aware of it and documenting it, This is the reality of that system that is put on a very wide display. Okay, this is what the entity has been doing for years to come. The moment that I began documenting, taking notes, documenting the police, documenting the people of the state, the entity engaged in this conduct, which I'm capturing in hundreds of videos, which is stalking me by helicopter. All right, and as I stated, the entity is continuously flying, not going anywhere. That's called relevant positioning. That's crossing path, doing so in engineered light. This is criminal monitoring, and it's ongoing obsessive stalking by a demon-possessed entity. Okay, that's the condition of that person flying that helicopter. This is the state acting directly using a helicopter to engage in what is stalking, and it is the group stalking system. And I want to be clear, it is again 10:46 p.m. The entity has not stopped flying over and around me, just now flying in a location where I can capture it on video, right here in front of me. Okay, this is the P.O.C. All right, this is moments later, 10:54 p.m., amplified sound of what is helicopter activity, and by amplified, meaning the entity turning up the same exact conduct, flying in circles around me, but vacillating in volume. This is actually demonic activity. This is the condition of this demon that is stalking me with a helicopter and flying repeatedly, pacing back and forth is what that is, and flying in circles around me, engaging in what is an act of terrorism, not only by virtue of stalking in a helicopter, but the demonic activity that coexists with this stalking conduct in a helicopter. The entity flying directly over me. It's currently 10:54 p.m. and this is what the entity is continuously doing, as I captured in video just a few moments ago, like 3 minutes ago. And the entity is pacing back and forth, and this is what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis. Okay, and so that's amplification, and that is what I was specifying in my previous video. It was approximately a little bit over, maybe an hour ago, where the entity was or has been, excuse me, since I captured video during the 9 o'clock hour. The entity is continuously group stalking, and this in the same way that you hear the people of the state. This is evidence against the people. They are group stalking as well. And the entity has been constantly flying in circles back and forth and staying out of the vision for me to capture on video. And so approximately 4 minutes ago now, the entity flies in front such that I'm able to see in front of me, so I'm able to capture where I am at the museum and capturing it on video. And this is moments ago. Right now is what I'm capturing, moments from that last video, like less than 5 minutes ago, and the entity is flying in this amplified level of volume, flying directly over me again. And as I stated, not going anywhere. This is demonic pacing. This is terrorism. This is psychopath conduct. And this is the government that's engaging in that. All right. And this is the government that is indeed, again, I keep bringing up what is the sexual violence, because the state of California is going to be prosecuted as a sex offender, because that's exactly what it is. And this government that's obsessively stalking by helicopter is obsessively stalking in bathrooms as well. This is the group stalking conduct, and the demon-possessed entity that it is. This obsessive stalking activity includes ongoing criminal surveillance inside of the private space, real-time knowledge of what I am doing inside of that private space, and then the physical stalking presence by a third party, which is the state that has no business stalking, has no business engaging in criminal monitoring, and is doing all of the above inside of what is a private space, in concert with the very demons that you hear that are crossing paths on Euclid Avenue. That's the demon-possessed population, the people of the state of California, group stalking right now at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, and group stalking inside of what are private spaces. That is the bathroom. And this is the prosecution of the people of the state and the state of California as the violent sex offender that it is, stalking and engaging in what is this crossing and path conduct. With ongoing knowledge of when my panties are up or down, and choosing that precise moment to sexually offend while stalking in that private space as the demon-possessed population that they are violent sex offenders, while engaging in what is terrorism and stalking in the unheard of methods such as by helicopter. It is currently 10:57 p.m. and this is P.O.C. This is video documentation captured on May 18, 2022 at 11:20 p.m. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the Ontario Police Department are engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring, terrorizing and stalking me with helicopter, flying directly over me repeatedly, as I capture again at this moment at 11:20 p.m. Just flying back and forth, which is called relevant positioning in engineered light. That's amplified audible activity. And the Ontario Fire Department sounding sirens approximately 30 seconds right before this moment. Right now it's 11:20 p.m. That is criminal summoning. And this is demonic pacing. This is flying directly over me, and they are monitoring. Again, this is the Ontario Police Department and the Ontario Fire Department sounding sirens moments ago. The sirens is audible activity creation, and this is the ongoing criminal conduct of the entity that's flying in circles, while sirens are another method of amplified audible activity, in addition to what is Union Pacific, the entity engaging in what is the hyperbolic use of a sound of a train, as though the train is going literally from my arrival here at 7 p.m. You're talking about what is the train in excess of 10 to 12 times that the train has been used. It's 11:21 p.m. This is while the entity is stalking by helicopter. The train is a means of audible activity in engineered light, while the government is engaged in what is criminal monitoring. And this is, again, the grounds of federal prison. Those sex offenders being documented inside of venues where I remain, such as the Upland Public Library, they are going to federal prison. And they are going as violent sex offenders as well, engaging in what is stalking in bathrooms, where this government has no business. And that's how the government is present in a bathroom stalking you. This is the system of group stalking. All right. It is currently, by the way, 11:22 p.m. and you are looking at what is flying in circles over my head. And this is the very evidence against the people of the state. And the entity is engaging in this criminal conduct in concert with, again, the minions that I'm documenting at the Ovid Family Community Library. They are heavily documented, even identified. You're talking about what is a venue engaging in criminal summoning. The Ontario Police Department are monitoring right now the Ovid Family Community Library engaging in criminal summoning, calling the police who are engaged in criminal surveillance while I'm documenting the fact that they're stalking and monitoring, including in the bathroom. They're going to federal prison. This is exactly what the Fontana Lewis Library did as well, while the entity is stalking me at the Fontana Lewis Library with helicopters as well. And they engaged in summoning the Fontana Police Department, who are engaging in what is this criminal monitoring system. They are going to federal prison. The people of the state are engaging in what is group stalking and monitoring with this government. And that is speaking to the evidence, what I'm capturing right now. That's why you have what is this obsessive stalking by helicopter. And this is just the ongoing generous provision of evidence against the people of the state. All right. This is the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring, as I've termed it. It is demonic. That is impossible light activity. All right. In other words, this light at the end of the hallway is not projecting onto this museum wall. You're witnessing demonic conduct. That's the demonic right there you're witnessing. And you're also witnessing the demonic here. That is the Ontario Police Department. All right. Flying in circles. They're going to federal prison. They're not the only police department that's been documented. They're not the only police department going to federal prison. And the impunity that the entity acts with, hundreds and hundreds of times of this very same exact conduct, documented over a term of years. Let me be clear. The disbanding of the Ontario Police Department is what this is evidence serving for, and federal prison of the Ontario Police Department. And this entity is engaging in this ongoing conduct on a daily basis while it is monitoring the documentation. So that is the criminal that is stalking and monitoring, and is also doing so while you are documenting the fact that you're subject to that criminal system. That is relevant to what is federal prison for the Ontario Police Department. I have documented many of those demon-possessed criminals wearing police uniforms of the Ontario Police Department. It's not just those that are documented. This is documentation against that entire agency. They're engaged in criminal monitoring. That's what the Ontario Police Department is engaging in. And that's what they're doing right now. It is currently 11:24 p.m. That's audible activity. While you saw the helicopter fly that way, you're listening to what is amplified audible activity. You're witnessing the demonic as you hear that. You're looking at this engineered light. You're witnessing the demonic as you see that. You're seeing the helicopter that's flying in circles over me as I'm capturing a series of videos. You're witnessing the demonic. That's the group stalking. This is the work of Satan. And let me be clear, the Ontario Police Department it's a department of puppets. They are puppets of Satan. They are bowing down at the feet of Satan. That's what they serve. And they're going to federal prison for their demented and criminal conduct. It is federal stalking. All right. And the entity is engaging in what is flying dozens and dozens of times over me repeatedly at the museum. This is not the end. The entity is engaging in the ongoing maintenance of group stalking and terrorism right now. It's 11:25 p.m. And again, that is the not only the evidence against the people of the state, this is the evidence against the law enforcement agency, the Ontario Fire Department. That's federal prison. Their venue is, by the way, on B Street. They are monitoring right now. They are being documented. They're subject to federal prison. As I have documented them during the day, I'm documenting them right now. This is documentation that is going widely toward that entire entity that is engaging in terrorism as one. It's not just this demon that is representing the Ontario Police Department stalking by helicopter. This is documentation that is serving to prosecute the Ontario Police Department, disbanding that police department. As you see that criminal conduct that they're engaging in, they are unfit and disqualified. Based in addition to what is the criminal conduct that I've been documenting that I've been subject to by them while they're monitoring for years. They're going to federal prison. It is currently 11:26 p.m., but let me be clear. Joy, the employee at the Upland Public Library, the Asian female, Elaine, the overweight Caucasian female at the Upland Public Library. You have Sandy. You have Tracy Randolph of the employees of the Upland Public Library. The entity that is group stalking at the Over Family Community Library, as I've documented many times, Sean Thrasher. All right, you have Mickey and Greg and Natasha. All of those minions, they are engaging in what is that criminal act, the grounds of federal prison. This is evidence against ongoing evidence. I've already fully documented them at the venues, which is already is to understand what is grounds of federal prison under existing federal law. This is criminal monitoring. This is a monitoring system. It is in violation of existing federal law in addition to what I intend to enforce against this government and against the people of the state. And it is that which has surpassed the prima facie case. And it is that which is the grounds of federal prison. This is documentation against that whole entity, which the entity is providing a wealth of while it flies in circles. Let me be clear. The ordinary target individual, you're going to play back documentation just like this, and it is serving for what are animals that are going to federal prison. It is currently, by the way, 11:27 p.m., and this is P.O.C.